Okay, it is 6:07 and welcome. We're gonna start for Manhattan Community Board 1 Executive Committee meeting. I'm Tammy Meltzer, Chair of the Board, and we've got a big agenda. There's a potential resolution for item 1, so I just need to do a quorum check real fast.
You have it.
I have it, fantastic. All right, so Zach's doing slides tonight. And EDC, you want to start with the presentation?
Sure.
All right. It should work. Face it towards the computer.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually the right, that's right. And you also have a highlighter in case it comes to that. That's one of the buttons on there.
Excuse me,
Why this-
sir, could you come closer to the owl? It's hard to hear you online. Sorry, I heard Hammy
Nobody's
okay.
talking. Nobody's
Nobody's
talking.
talking yet. Can you hear me?
Well, I'll project.
Sorry, I can
Just-
hear you okay, Tammy. Thank you.
You'll be fine, that's it.
Okay,
It will turn toward you.
fantastic. Oh, it's an actual owl.
No, it's not a real
I
one.
mean, yes, it looks like
It
one.
hoots and everything.
If it hoots at you, then we're in trouble. That's what I'm gonna say. Take it away.
Well, thanks everyone for having us back. As you all know, I'm Tara Just with our Government and Community Relations team at EDC. I'm here with Gustavo Moran, who was here last time with us, Max Taffet, who's the Vice President of our Ports Waterfront Transportation team, Donald Laloya from DACA NYC, and Hanif, who's also from DACA NYC. We're gonna spend half of this presentation recapping a little bit of what we talked about last week or last month, and go a lot more into the details around what has historically been here, been in place, the lease with Hornblower, the operating agreement structure that we're now considering, the terms around that, especially around a lot of the community benefits that we want to make sure are in place. We know there have been, some things that did not go as we had wanted under the former lease, and we want to make sure that we're being better neighbors here, and a lot of that is rectified. And then we'll go a little bit more specifically into DACA NYC's operating transition and their operating plan. Okay. So again, just reviewing a little bit of Pier 15. So when we're talking about the berthing operations transition, which is what we're focused on for this conversation, we're talking about an operator for the areas highlighted in blue here. So I know Pier 15 has a lot of uses. There's the Watermark Cafe, there's obviously the open space here. This is a very, complex structure with different uses. But in terms of an operator for the berthing space, this is what we're really talking about in this conversation. So everything that you see in all the other colors that are not blue will remain the same. The gray space will be maintained by Parks. Watermark Cafe is staying there, but what we're talking about is the operator for the north, at least for this conversation, we're calling it the north, that longer side, east, the far end, and the south berth, as well as the Maritime Pavilion. So I just want to quickly recap how this was structured in the 2011 RFP that was used to select Hornblower, the former leaseholder of this area, and call out the language that is essentially staying the same in terms of our operations here. So back in that RFP, the way that we were framing this was we were seeking an operator of the Maritime Pavilion and berthing tie-up space of the berthing areas to maximize the potential of Pier 15 by making it a destination for both maritime education as well as public and charter vessel excursion services. This mandate is staying the same. I think what is the bigger change between a lease and an operating agreement is a lease is negotiated. All those terms are set at the front end of that lease agreement, and then someone comes on to take those operations and it's in their full control. An operating agreement, the city is very much involved in this. This is city control. We are just bringing on an operator to help with the management of that, but that's really, the city is very much closer to a lot of these aspects. So for the Maritime Pavilion, the way that this was structured, or that this was framed in 2011, was that this space must feature a maritime or environmental education component. Under no circumstances may space in the Maritime Pavilion be dedicated to public retail or food, and at least 50% of the space should be used for this purpose. Again, this is remaining the same. We definitely want the Maritime Pavilion to be activated for different types of public programming. And this is very much something that we are focused on for this new management structure. The south and north berths were called out back in 2011 as examples of potential services for dinner cruises, river and harbor tours, private chartered events, public education, and environmental programs, maritime harbor events, or events related to historic and cultural significance, and that will remain the same. And that east berth, the smallest of the berthing areas, is supposed to remain maximizing cross-river views and maintain a positive virtual experience, and can only really be activated for 21 days a year maximum. And again, that is staying the same. So again, just to visualize, this was the area in blue that I highlighted earlier that was under the Pier 15 Hornblower lease. It is that same area that will be underneath the new operating agreement. I know we had a question that came up around like, what is the timeline of all of this? Why are we coming to you all now? So really, again, what's triggering this is Hornblower is terminating their lease May 31st. So at the time that we came to you all in March, we were kind of at the beginning of that transition management phase that you see outlined here. It was very helpful to hear a lot of the feedback that we got. As we'll go into this presentation, there's a lot that we are still building out, but definitely want to be building out in relation to what we heard from you all. We are approaching, again, this May 31st, June 1st transition. So right now we're focused on a lot of the examinations of the pier, trying to figure out if there's anything needed additional for the pier. We're lucky that this is a very new pier, and so in terms of its condition, it's in really good good condition, but we want to make sure that all the aspects that perhaps have not been managed well are being rectified in this new agreement. And so we are in the process of figuring, Dock NYC is in the process of figuring out that berthing schedule. So the purpose of this, of where we are today, we don't have that fully fleshed out. When Dock NYC eventually takes on these responsibilities June 1st, there will be a gradual scaling up of operations. So a lot of these things are kind of still in development, but this is just an understanding of where we are in the process so that you all are familiar with kind of when we'll be able to have a little bit more detail on certain things.
So the contract is not signed yet, or it is signed yet?
I mean, we're in that transition.
So it is already inked and done?
No, transition.
No, I mean, not what she said.
There's still pieces of this that we're still finalizing.
I know what I heard.
If I can just speak to what the Dock NYC operating agreement is, and Max Staff at Senior VP in the Sports Waterfront Transportation Group. And we're gonna jump into some slides on the history of the operating agreement.
It was just a yes or no to understand because of your timeline, if it is.
So there is in part, it's important to understand that an agreement exists for the operating program. That was signed in 2019. And so.
For the
EDC
citywide Dock NYC.
The citywide Dock NYC agreement. In order to add sites into or out of it, we need to amend that. And we've been actively engaging with the Dock NYC team about adding additional sites for management into it. So we're having an ongoing discussion about that. We have an existing operating agreement with the Dock NYC program, but to add additional sites into it, we have to amend that operating agreement.
So that amendment has not been signed yet for 15.
That's correct.
I had been told different information in March by someone else. So,
I'm glad that we have the opportunity to speak directly about it.
perfect. Thanks.
All right, and so now we'll go into detail about Dock NYC at this site.
Yeah, as Max just mentioned, we do have an agreement in effect for citywide operations and management services for docking space, berth space across the city. So the Dock NYC operating agreement was first signed back in 2013 for a 5-year term. It was renewed twice until the end of 2019. In 2019, we re-released this agreement competitively and re-procured Dock NYC for another 5-year term starting in January of 2020. The first term was up at the end of 2024. We're now into their second option ending in 2029, and there is one more 5-year option upon mutual agreement. As Max just mentioned, EDC does retain the right to add or remove any site from this Dock NYC program and throughout the life of the agreement. During our last presentation here, you asked about the contract and what portions related to 15 are going to be added. As you can see here, we've added A through F of just some of the specifics to Pier 15, such as the operator managing and operating, scheduling, inspecting, securing, and maintaining Pier 15 on behalf of EDC. This is in accordance with the larger operating agreement contract that we have in place. We've also mentioned that Parks Department has the responsibility to clean and maintain the bathrooms as well as the green spaces at Pier 15. And Dock NYC has mentioned that they are planning to augment the cleanliness of the pier, making sure that the pier remains safe, and of course the cleanliness of the bathrooms. Another aspect that we included here is tour tickets to be sold directly at the site or online. As per the larger agreement that we have with Dock NYC, ticket selling by third parties is prohibited. We do have specific stipulations in the agreement that any operator engaging with this third-party ticket selling activity is first issued a fine, and then they lose the privileges to dock at any of our Dock NYC facilities. Another aspect of Pier 15 is to prepare a berthing schedule, develop protocols for daily landing licenses, tour permits, anything related to operating Pier 15. We'll get into this, of course, a little bit in a few slides, but Dock NYC has developed an operations plan for the pavilion, for the berth space, for queuing of passengers, and making sure they have designated areas along the pier that doesn't interfere with the public portions of the pier. And then lastly, as Tara has mentioned, to manage the Maritime Pavilion as a community space for education programming. And, we're looking to develop that programming operations with you all for it to be really a community space.
I'll just assume we're doing questions at the end, yes?
Yeah. We'll have a couple more slides just to walk through Dock NYC's portion of this, and then we can take questions at the end. Go ahead, Don.
My name is Donald Eliav. I'm a Senior Vice President for New York Waterway, as well as Dock NYC. I've met many of you over a 30-year career here in Lower Manhattan. We've been in the marine business for 40 years. We manage nearly $400 million worth of maritime assets, the large part of those for the Port Authority, New Jersey Transit, City of New York. And so we've come to this with a very experienced and broad portfolio. We're looking at this pier. We think there's a lot of problems at this pier. The public space has been taken over. And I think, one of the things that we need to establish here is public access. My background, by the way, is urban planning and historic preservation. I'm not a mariner. I'm not a captain. I'll be very upfront about that. But I look at this pier and I see it as an underused, abused asset. and it needs to be taken care of. And that's what we do when we come in and start to manage these facilities. We reestablish the boundaries and we try to allow the public to use the space as it was intended. I don't see this as a party pier. I think what should be coming out of this pier is sightseeing vessels, chartered event vessels, but more like on the corporate side. Historic and educational vessels. We have a history of doing that at various locations. We've had research vessels, historic vessels, World War II vessels. They've docked at Pier 36. They've docked at Brooklyn Army Terminal. We've had international vessels. We also manage the Homeport Pier in Staten Island. So we take quite a few diverse scientific and construction vessels out there. I think that there should be summer activities out there on a temporary basis. We as a company, New York Waterway, program our terminal spaces. So I have just tonight, I left a musician at Pier 79. We do markets, we do school events. We have a relationship with the Billion Oyster Group where we allow children to come into our terminals. We give them space. We allow them to use the space so they can work with the Billion Oyster Group. We actually work with schools ourselves. Most recently, we took out a school from Brooklyn. We brought them to various facilities to introduce them into the maritime world so that they could think about pursuing careers in that. As I said, we do pop-up markets. We manage events at our larger terminals, at Poet House, at Brookfield Terminal. We've worked with the Van Gogh exhibit at Basketball City and worked a relationship with that. So we're not adverse. We have great experience in coordinating community participation, and we're happy to do that. And I think it needs to be done both on the deck and in the community space. I've already reached out to someone you might know about the harbor camp. They would use that pier this summer, give children an introduction into sailing, and then take them out on the vessel. That would actually be the Clipper City, if you're familiar with that. And that would be an 8-day schedule just this summer. So we're already begun to look at this and see if it would work. So that's how we think the pier should be used. A little bit about our process. We just don't let anyone come to a pier. You have to fill out a very detailed berthing agreement with us, provide your background information. You have to provide us with information regarding your event. All of our schedules are public. They're available on our website. You can look and see what boat's going out where. We try to schedule things 6 months in advance. We take that information, we provide it to the local precinct. They look at it, tell us whether or not there's a hot button in this group. If there's something that they don't think should happen, it gets canceled. It's that simple. So vessels have liquor licenses. They acquire their liquor licenses where they berth their boats. That license in New York allows you to pick up and use that license from various points. Because I said, all of the dockings are pre-scheduled. We have pretty strict rules on how they operate. So if you're within a half a mile of the dock, your music goes off. Only music that you can play can only be heard inside. Now, I know there's a lot of complaints about noise in the harbor, and it's a variety, and you're smiling at me, so I can't control them once they leave that radius, but we do try. If I get a phone call about a boat that is off of Battery Park City, for example, off of Brookfield, I'll follow up and reach out to that boat operator. Violations are subject to an enforcement procedure. So if you make a mistake, try to give you another chance. If you do it a second time, more often than not, we just pull your permit. We do not allow anyone to sell on the street, sell tour tickets on the street and operate out of any of these EDC facilities. I am presently being sued myself, my company, because we pulled so many permits. So we're not afraid to do it. We spent thousands and thousands of dollars fighting this, but we prevail. So, and I know the problem downtown with the street sellers, we're just talking about it earlier. I can't comment on whether it's a good idea or bad idea, but I think part of the solution is selling tickets from behind a window. And people need to walk inside a building, have a certified ticket agent, a ticket machine. And this way, if there's a problem, they can come back and resolve that problem. Mhm. So, we do staff, we'll have a manager there at all times. We provide our own porter service. I know Parks, has an agreement to clean, but we provide our own porter service. We clean our own bathrooms, we clean the public ways. We provide our own security when a vessel is going out. We have very strict rules on how many security personnel are on every boat, with the exception of tour boats. I mean, if it's a charter, if you have 300 people, you need to have one security guard for every 50 people. Those security guards check in with our guards. Then we have our own guards there, making sure that when they disembark, they leave the facility quietly and disperse. I should have introduced Hanif Hassan. So, and Hanif is a manager, but he's more than a manager. He runs most of these facilities. He manages and monitors the berthing agreements. He does all of the scheduling. He can give you some insight. So an average departure, an early evening departure for our facilities might have 100 people on. Right? A late departure, and what we consider late these days is 10 o'clock. Might have 200 people on the boat on average. We think that the facility is set up to hold 4 to 5 vessels berthed. We don't think there should ever be more than 2 boats loading at a time. Right, so very manageable, what you would call the north and south or east and west. I think that's a manageable operation. There might be boats that berth there overnight. I don't really have a list of people yet that are looking to come in there. And then finally, on what would be called the north end, you know, we respect the historic nature of that. You want ships that can tie up there. I know it can only be used so many times. My first objective, if we have the privilege of having this project, is to clean up that pier. It needs to be clean. We invest money in plant material. We'll invest money into planting beds. We need to figure out something with the restaurant. We've been used as an arm of the city to basically clean up some seriously deteriorated locations, and we've done it. So we're not afraid to take on the challenge. That's really all I have to say about us.
Give more detail to what you're talking about. So for example, you said 4 to 5 vessels, 2 loading at a time. Slide initially said 4.
Well, I think you can fit 4 at that facility, whether they were berthed there, right?
So
But
what's the maximum?
based on the length of the
Maximum
pier, I
capacity.
think the maximum number of boats you could get there is 5 alongside.
The number of people for the city.
But there would never be 2 boats, more than 2 boats operating at the same time. So in other words, if we have a berthing area, let's say somebody comes in, a historic
Total
vessel
Capacity for people.
on the pier, I don't know the exact capacity, I know.
On the boats.
Well, the boats vary, they could be as 100 to 500.
Oh, 500.
The length could
Or
be,
3,500, as Gustavo told us last month.
3,500 on a boat?
none of the boats are
That's the
meant.
Staten Island ferry boat.
Oh.
So, well, I can't really speak to, I'm not involved in that discussion, so I can't. But, the boats that we manage, the maximum is 600. But the typical departure, crowd is about 200, 250.
So you wouldn't have boats that could have the capacity of more than 600?
Don't think so. I don't think there's anybody out there with more than 6.
That we've had recently.
Yeah.
Our usual operators, their max capacity is normally 500 and they're normally loading up well below that maximum capacity of their vessels.
But they could have 600 if they wanted to.
It's possible.
The COIs are what they call a certificate of inspection. The boats are certified for 600.
Yeah.
It's a big crowd on a boat. I don't care what kind of boat it is. It's really a large
But
crowd.
nothing larger than 600.
No, we don't take anything larger than that, unless, for example,
Ever take any boat that could have the
I
capacity larger than
don't
600?
think we have.
No,
unless we-
but could you, would you?
Well, that depends. Let me answer the question. For example, if a Circle Line boat needed to come alongside, those boats hold 800 people.
Right.
If a Statue Cruises boat came alongside, they hold 800 people. But I don't see them operating there. They have their own facilities.
But we have to go on, could.
I would go on, would not
Because-
exceed.
Well, because you would work with Statue Cruises to do a drop off if you were,
And you know, we've done that.
exactly, this is why the questions were asked.
Right,
because
they don't,
If it's a one-time stop drop off, it's still 800 people come.
yeah,
on the boat.
those are usually transports. Right? So, and, you might get a group that needs to come into that side. They've come into Brookfield, and they offload and leave.
Why is that? Because they've had an emergency and they.
And they've had an event out on. the
Yeah, they'll have, an event on the island. They might have an event at, Liberty State Park. So,
So the possibility exists.
And what about private boats?
I don't see private yachts pulling up here. I don't see it. I don't know. Why would I give that space to them?
Yeah, I mean, there's no
So-
limit to what's
So,
possible. when you're
there are limits. We create guidelines for the pier that reflect the community's desires. So if you wanted it to be a mega yacht and not a dinner boat,
Clearly not, but we're asking the question as to whether or not.
we've only had it happen once. And, that was at Pier 36, and it was there for about 5 days. And that was early on in the program. There aren't a lot of places for them to dock, but I don't think you can handle it here because of the draft.
I have a question.
Yes.
Last month, when we heard about this, the Staten Island Ferry was going to be parked there. Is that still the case? Because there were some concern about the size of that vessel, the activities on the vessel, and I think turning radiuses, which I don't understand, but it seems substantial enough to ask.
We were told it would be there for 3 years.
The last time we were here, we were in early conversations. We're in a lot of conversations just because, you know, as we all know, there's gonna be FIFA this year, there's gonna be a lot. So we're in a lot of conversations around different types of activations related to that. At this point, our exact schedule isn't set yet, so nothing is confirmed. But, you know, they have reached out to us. We're also talking with a lot of other folks in terms of
So they might go
Other-
there.
Yes.
Yeah, they said yes. It's not a no. I think that's the answer. You're not saying no. Can you detail what has been planned for Sail 250? Because what you told us, hang on, is that the immediate need to give Pier 15 to Don Loyola was so we didn't miss out on the opportunities for Sail 250. That's what was said to us at the last meeting. So,
And to put a fine point on that, so Sail 250 is a separate program. It is not managed through us. What the city is here to do is manage the waterfront berthing space. And part of why Dock NYC has been such a great partner to us is because it is a program where the city is very much involved in that management. We're working with Don on a very day-to-day basis in terms of like what they're seeing, the incoming that they get. We obviously want to make sure that we're balancing both the needs of the small businesses, a lot of these maritime businesses in New York City that have needs as well as the community benefits here. This summer is always a really active time. This summer especially is going to be an active time, and we're going to have to accommodate a lot of needs for Sail 250, for other FIFA activations throughout the city. And so we want to make sure that we have something in place that allows us to do that. So that's kind of what's guiding a lot of our need here, but you know, it is, Sail 250 is its own program, and we've spoken to them about potentially coming here for them to present to you all, but
So-
what our role here is to accommodate those.
but can't Don talk about it because he manages all the other piers for the most part?
We're actually part of the committee.
Yeah.
To Sail 250.
Exactly.
There's 2 inquiries for Pier 15. One is the Pride of Baltimore. I'm sorry. There have been 2 inquiries. I sit on the committee for Sail 250 and the berthing committee, unrelated to this role. There have been 2 inquiries. One is for the Pride of Baltimore, a historic vessel that would be open to the public for boarding and viewing. They would be probably on the, what are you calling it? I call it the north, you call it. the-
North is fine.
Right?
North is
That's probably a likely spot for them. And then there's a smaller vessel, whose name it just escaped me now. It's also a historic vessel. It is actually privately owned and restored by a private individual. And they would offer sailings on that vessel as well.
like the Clipper City.
Like the Clipper City, I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure it's a sloop. I don't know what it is, but, they're both, pole-masted vessels. And that's the only activity I have heard of. And from what I know, I don't know that you can really accommodate anything else if they're there.
I have a follow-up question, because I didn't. So there is a possibility that the Staten Island Ferry might be at this location, and the capacity of that ferry is 3,500 people, which goes kind of.
Yeah, I defer. I have to defer to my associates at EDC. I'm not involved in that negotiation.
I'm just trying to get the number. You said max is 800, that's 35.
3,500.
So we just not
Yeah,
very.
that's an enormous amount, but I'll also say on larger Staten Island ferries, those also have 5,000, 6,000 passengers. Due to just frankly, the limits of getting people onto and off of vessels, those Staten Island ferries are but for events like New York Marathon or Five Borough Bike Ride. The Staten Island ferries are rarely, if ever, at capacity. And I think it's entirely appropriate in the context of Pier 15 for us, for this conversation here about reasonable upper limits, that it's really not the COI of a vessel that is going to be the guiding consideration in terms of what's appropriate throughput from the pier onto vessels that are there. I think understandably, 3,500 is a concern. When we're talking about realistically, I think that's very much something that in the course of operation plans and requirements, and this is something that I have harped on with Gustavo, who manages these guys at piers across the city in terms of tight management of line, ensuring that there's proper security procedures for folks getting onto and off of vessels. And this is not by any means the only location where there's tight upland conditions relative to the desire of getting out on the water that folks have.
You have two other factors here that I think are extremely relevant. It's 69 feet wide, not including fendering. It's also 277 feet long. How will that impact operations from Pier 16?
In terms of a specific vessel at this location, if a vessel like this ends up coming on a temporary basis to the pier, there's going to be engagement with the community board.
I think you need engagement with the people who use Pier 16.
I think it's beyond the community board, because we already heard from Jonathan in writing that boat, if it's on the north side, his boats and the operation of 16 is fully compromised because it goes beyond the halfway line. So the north side's completely untenable for the operations on 16.
And
The
we're-
concerns I have on the south side is, even if you're telling me you're gonna limit that boat to 1,000 people, like you can't sell it out, it'll be 1,000, just bear with me, it's a third of what the boat can manage, a little less than a third. 1,000 people there, you're gonna kill Watermark, right? To get 1,000 people on the south side, which is a very narrow walkway, is gonna be rough. And that boat would take the entire side. If I remember correctly, Pier 15 is 300 feet, is that right? Do I have that correct?
On its width, I'm not offhand immediately familiar with the dimensions.
509.
I don't know if we've got one slide up there with them.
Google it and measure it on this scale.
No,
Keep going, keep going. It's 509, right?
Uh,
David, go ahead.
Even if you only have 1,000 people, only 1,000, how many fire exits do?
This is not my vessel,
Okay.
and I.
Not mine either, but I think you pretty ought to want to,
Absolutely.
because, you know, you have
Bathrooms.
very strictly regulated about how many people you can put in the place.
Yeah.
Given the number of fire exits and sprinklers are involved.
It's 310.
And bathrooms.
Yep,
The first largest continuous space, approximately 310 linear feet.
On the south side.
As measured from the southeast corner of the pier.
I think from the bulkhead to the end of the pier is about 509. I was looking at Century.
nobody's proposing to make them.
Well, it is a nightclub, that boat. It is a restaurant and nightclub venue, and there's a difference between, having been in the restaurant business, there's a difference between a number of people that a boat can accommodate when it is docked for an event type thing versus something that's seafaring. It's a very different number. But when you're talking about 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, it's a lot. And what we're talking about for the pier, it's going to trample and ruin the park space, right? And there's a lot of conversations that we need to have here about the coordination with parks and things like that. I just want Don to be able to answer a couple of their questions about the presentation that he gave. So
Sorry.
what page were you on? Go back one, go back one. Okay. Nope, where you say staffing and security.
Go ahead.
So one of, there you go, capacity, this is where I think we were asking questions. You mentioned 10 PM, is that the latest departure that you'll allow?
Latest departure.
And what time do they come back?
Well, yeah.
They could come back anytime from noon, midnight, 1 o'clock. Generally, it's shut down by 2, clear, empty, gone.
So 2 AM is your close?
Generally closed, yes.
Okay, so security presence required for all boarding. We want unloading.
And they're there for unloading. So what we do is that we require. First security guard comes off, you make sure the first 50 people come off, the next 50, next guard, next 50, next guard. So they escort them
Yep.
to the street.
Because, and how would this work? My understanding of the reason why they're looking to put the Staten Island ferry boat there is because they're looking to maximize on that 4 AM closing for, new bars that's coming through legislation. And that it'd be a giant attraction for FIFA to be able to have a giant floating FIFA location. So, I mean, for us, we would rather have the restaurants in the seaport and in Lower Manhattan that pay extraordinary amounts of rent be full with people.
Well, actually one. You had mentioned earlier, maybe I misheard, but you spoke about the Van Gogh exhibit, somehow that this had something to do with the Van Gogh.
No. We worked with them to make sure that people can get access to the building, and then they came out and they used the apron on the pier. We allocated space for them.
No.
Yes, not here.
Oh,
Okay,
that was up at
well,
Pier 36.
Okay, because so in relation to that, I was just curious, because I was trying to situate Van Gogh in
Sure.
this situation. But, for example, the Balloon Museum and the new Wolf, whatever it's called, how are you with me still? How are you gonna be, that's an example of the Van Gogh.
I'm not familiar with those two venues.
Well, it's Pier 17, so
Okay.
it's within where you are. You're
Those that I'm
familiar,
from.
because those are your.
Are you looking for whether that kind of thing would happen
Well,
here?
I'm just curious as to how the dock would be.
Well, we curate our own events, in other
It's
words.
for this site, so for the Maritime Pavilion, but that's really the on land space. That wouldn't be something for like a big commercial thing. That's like, something that, let's say, Billion Oyster Project wants to do some sort of activation for people to come in and interact or something. That's that kind of space. I don't think the like Van Gogh Museum thing is necessarily best suited for this location. Pier 36 has like a huge, much bigger thing. So that's.
Yeah, no, that's.
So-
It's just the adjacency, but I guess with that is the question, how do you come up with your scheduling of, for example, a boat that like Billion, Oyster Project versus catering? You know, how do you schedule these things so there's some sort of equity between the kind of educational component or the not-for-profit component and the for-profit? Is there some sort of something that you can share that allows for
No,
that?
allow me to answer that question.
Equitable?
We do the scheduling, so allow me. All right, so the pier is open. We prioritize, revenue producing boats, but we also, and we've never had the opportunity to turn down a historic or research. We actually discount, or if not, allow them to dock pro bono, no fee. So that, they can come, they're welcome to come, and if they're berthed and not loading and unloading people, they're open throughout the day. People can board at their leisure. It depends on the type of operation. So, for example, the research vessels we've had, they've allowed people to come on for a brief period of time during the day, but several days in a row. So it's,
What percentage of the year is, and the birthing is allowed, is not-for-profit?
anytime they want to come in. We don't limit their time of year. We don't, as long as they come to us, we'll assist them. One of the problems that we have with smaller historic vessels is the elevation of the pier deck. So a lot of these piers don't have floats alongside them. So it's very difficult for people to get on and off the smaller boats. So,
On the north side, currently, Hornblower had gangways that went down to
They have-
water level because they used it for a barge. for a
they have-
storage barge.
I think that barge is still there, actually.
I know it is.
So-
I was there today,
Sorry.
but that's what I'm saying. It's not a problem that you can do.
No, yeah,
gangways
they're
down.
generally lower profile, but yeah, no, you can put a float there. I mean, that's an,
Absolutely.
you have to make the arrangements, and we do that. We make those arrangements.
So can I just get clear as to, because we could be here all night, I think, on this. Are we writing a resolution, Tammy?
Yes.
And do we want to start to identify all the things that we seem to be
Yep.
highlighting here? If it's begin to
Um,
flush this.
they have more slides. I want to ask a couple more questions and then I'm gonna go to Brendan. There is a current issue, which we have parks people here, which I'm really happy, and there are people online with hands up as well. There are bathrooms on the land side that are managed by SAG. There are bathrooms on the pier that are currently managed by Watermark. They are not managed by Hornblower. I know this because they're fully decorated for the party that they have this coming weekend. So they actually do manage those bathrooms, and there's porta potties that Watermark has put out on the pier to help with flow and traffic that they manage as well. So who's managing the bathrooms on the parkland and who's helping maintain the parkland? Because downstairs is parkland and upstairs.
We're happy to do both. We do manage bathrooms at our other facilities where we have, if there's a demand for more, we'll make arrangements for water sands.
Some of the other facilities, there were issues with bathrooms not being opened as people were disembarking from the boats. And so people were
We
using
take care of
Pier
it.
35.
And we've added extra bathrooms.
Especially if they're getting off at 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock.
So your question about your 15 bathrooms, our understanding is these are under maintenance by Parks Department. The bathrooms, the lower and upper parkland spaces. I have been there last week at Pier 15. I've seen the watermark signage. That is not allowed under their lease agreement. We are in discussions with them about removing all of that signage at Pier 15, that's not within their lease areas. And that bathroom trailer, again, is not part of their lease area. And we're in discussions about ways to remove all of that from their non-leased areas.
We're in more than discussions. We are in a legal engagement with them over the fact that they are well beyond the extent that they are allowed to have. And making our way down that legal pathway to get that rectified.
The bathrooms, I'm less concerned about because we don't have enough public restrooms anywhere in the city. And when you get off a boat, and you've got 800, 900 people, having 4 stalls of bathrooms is inadequate at best.
Women, yeah.
I mean, it's a rough thing, but there's also questions like that go with that. So one of the questions that I asked Tara that I emailed earlier, Alice, this goes towards resolution, is that I think that the board should support what they've done in another location. In 2025, it was inked, and I think it's a good thing for us. It is, I'm gonna pull up my emails. They did a dollar charge for anyone who, a dollar charge per passenger over at the Brooklyn terminals. And that money is saved and leveraged to use for, and stays in the community. And it could be something that is used to help Parks Department and to help that pier. So it would go to a community organization to help fund that and partner with. And I'd like,
Part of the ticket price?
as part of the ticket.
I want to clarify just one thing about that. So, we love hearing that, you know, the community support of that. It is unique to a very different type of pier altogether. So we have this in place at the cruise terminals, Brooklyn and Manhattan. This is $1 per passenger collected from the cruise lines. And these are the major cruise lines with like 4 or 5 that exist in the world. So they have input that into their pricing structure. And that community fund is still in the process of being built out, but essentially what that is designated for projects that are generally non-capital. Part of that is because this is something that is done every year. So it is something that, you know, is very exciting, but it is for a very different type of pier altogether. Whereas this one, you know, we're working with very small local businesses here. These are not 4 major companies that are global.
Circle Line is a small local business,
Just
Stafford
for a
Cruises.
But that said, we do have agreements between EDC and parks to fund a lot of the more the management and maintenance of this project or of this area. So there's definitely other mechanisms here in place that we have to be funding a lot of the needs of this area, which is not something that we do have for the cruise terminals, which is a little bit why we have these different structures here. We have MOUs with parks. We also, you know, are having ongoing maintenance and other elements here versus the cruise terminals. It's a very different type of structure altogether, which is, you know, why we've had to offset with other types of things. That's not to say that there aren't funds being put aside for a lot of the needs in this.
I'm gonna recognize Justine online who has her hand up, and then I know you have a couple, 4 more slides, I think. Oh, sorry, Brendan, you go first. Justine, I forgot. Apologies. Brendan?
One, I don't think there's a reason why we can't include in our resolution to have that same kind of benefit. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
My main question was going to be, and apologies if I missed this at the top. It sounded like y'all are still still having discussions around like who's going to be there by like June, talking about like FIFA. One, when can we get some solidified dates? Knowing that it is the end of April. If I'm shocked that y'all don't have this decided on, and June is right here. So could we get some like solid dates on when these decisions will be made and what the decisions are in terms of who's going to be these peers? Because I think that would inform a lot of our decision making and questions and all this other stuff. So could we get those answers relatively soon? Because I imagine y'all are probably pretty close to having made those decisions and you're not doing them for whatever reason, but I don't like to be under this like guise of like, we're thinking about someone's that's going to be here. Y'all probably know, so just tell us, because otherwise it's not the best use of our time. So when can y'all have those dates available to us?
That's for EDC team, because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of peers, like this peer and other peers, Dock NYC is receiving regular inquiries from vessels that want to land their piers. So sometimes it is 24 hours before a land.
We got FIFA, we got 250, and we got something else I'm not even thinking of.
Sure.
That's right here. That's a lot of people. Y'all have dates, we got money, tell us.
Yeah.
And Don knows, because he's on the sale 250, which I knew, which is why, like, telling me, like, it's not, we know he's there.
And so this may have been mentioned before you entered the room, you may not have heard it. Don did indicate Pride of Baltimore is a vessel that the Sail Forth not-for-profit institute is coordinating a number of the tall ships that are coming to New York Harbor over the week of July 4th. there is
That's for the 250, sale 250.
for that window
Yeah.
of time, yeah. And so, yeah, Sale 250 is kind of the big umbrella moment for 250th anniversary of the United States. There's an international naval review where you've got tall ships coming in, you've got military ships.
But who have you told Don, if Don didn't know necessarily, which I think Don knows almost everything at this point? Not the massive, like, maybe, who have you said, okay, Doc NYC is taking Pier 15, just wait until the contract's set, and then you'll work with him because FIFA starts June 11th. And who have you promised to go into that space?
There've been zero promises to anybody at this
Okay.
point. And in the context of,
We could use them to have a sign on people specifically.
so, Doc NYC can't execute any agreements until they actually are responsible for the pier,
Till June 1st, we get it.
right?
Understood. But that doesn't mean, like with
You won't
anything
know.
else, it doesn't mean you
Yeah.
open a venue, you tour the space, you pre-sell.
Yeah.
This is what you do. He could make general scheduling arrangements and then contract everything on the first.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's not just opening the doors and saying,
No,
whoops,
from-
everybody
from-
jump in. That's
from-
not how this works.
From our inquiries, there has been nothing for FIFA, right? And the board is out there, obviously, that would, you know, hopefully managing the pier. The only two vessels that I am aware of the two that I mentioned, the tall
For sale
mast-
250.
For sale 250, that might be as much as, I believe, they could come dockside on the 3rd. They're gonna do a parade, a sailing parade up the East River.
Yes.
So what
Yeah,
are the
dockside.
guardrails for the community or people? And what kind of timing and notification do you give to us?
There's a lot happening at the citywide level around FIFA coordination, not just the site, but the entire city. That's, a lot of this is still in development. That's not just us, that's, under City Hall as well.
But we're not
So-
talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like FIFA related, I can't give you an answer, not because I don't want to, but it's just, we don't have a firm.
But
under-
the question is more so when will we have an answer?
Thank you.
Because I don't want to find out on June 10th that 10,000 people are about to be embarking on this here. And then that's clearly the expected numbers. So my question is, when will you have an answer? How much in advance will you know that?
We definitely want to be able to give as much advance notice as possible. I just don't have an
Can you
exact.
promise that it will be more than 70 days out?
There are people
There-
who live across the
For
street.
sure, for sure. And we absolutely, this is.
More than 7 days.
Can you give us, or can you take it back to your team that we would like to have at least a 14-day notice
Thank you.
of what's gonna happen with you specifically? Because everybody in this room and around.
And
this
not
room,
just that,
it's a huge-
But also that the people who live across the street will be notified so that they will know.
Yeah,
Not just them, but also
Yeah,
in Southbridge Tower.
Absolutely. I mean, for anything related to EDC, we try to at least have a 14-day waiting period.
Before you get started.
And that's just being good neighbors here. We'd of course love to do more, but
So we'll include that in the resolution. as
Yep,
well.
I got it. 14-day notice.
Yes.
Netta, and, Justine, then Netta. Sorry, Justine. Yeah, but Justine's been a
That's
while.
okay. I just have a stupid question. How many, I'm gonna, boats, ships, whatever that word is, do you anticipate coming in and out, or you're not even in control of that? Like, what's the maximum flow? I know I heard it closed at 10
We
PM.
have a number of capacity. What's the capacity?
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
I think, just you can berth 5 boats.
At the same time.
population At the same time, but they may be staying there for days. Right? For example, if a historic vessel came and wanted to berth alongside the pier, and they might take up 2 of those berthing spots because of their
You're
length.
big.
Right, they're big. My point is, we will never allow more than 2 boats to operate at the same time. So in other words, you might have a tour boat loading on the south side. You might have a charter loading on the north side. Boom, done. When they leave, and generally, we allocate an hour for that.
Is that, and what's the capacity that you're looking at for those? Is that 2 boats of 800 each? So you have a Circle Line on one side and a Statue of Cruise on the other?
First off, I don't think they're really gonna be the tenants. I think that you're looking at potential tour boats that might have 300, 400, 500, but they don't necessarily load up every. If you look at the average departure for our facilities across the board, 23rd Street, 36, Brooklyn Army Terminal, it's about 250 people per boat.
That could be.
All of them
500.
are very, very different.
It is 500,
23rd,
but we manage.
Brooklyn's nowhere near what this is.
No, I understand.
You're not in the
right.
historic district, you're not by, successful venues and stuff like that. It's a very different thing. It's a very different location than the others.
I agree.
It has far more demand than 36 would, because it's gonna be easier to get people in and out. And
I would say that we'll manage that demand.
Of course.
You know that we manage crowds and we do, I mean, I have to say it. We manage Brookfield Terminal, 3,000 people a day go through that terminal, and sometimes there can be 4 boats loading and unloading. It might be a topic we don't want to get to, but it is reality, right? So, and I'm happy to talk to you about that separately.
I
All
won't
right.
go down that road.
All right. So-
But you do agree that the security needs to be there. This is a lesson we learned from 36.
It's always there in our security.
Until the last person's
Yes.
off the dock.
Gates closed, however you want to describe it. Boom, gone. Right?
Well,
And I want to get back to these bathrooms and, because I
Well,
really,
you have more, she has, Tara has more slides and
Not too many,
Start, because this is an hour in.
I'm
we should
taking-
start
I'm taking
identifying-
notes.
Yeah, just one quick slide, just wanted to quickly highlight a couple of the things from last session and how we're addressing a lot of that. So again, I think we covered most of this throughout this presentation, but for the making public space more accessible, one additional thing we haven't touched on is the wraparound signage. We definitely want to make this a lot more transparent, a lot more useful to the community, so that instead of having a full head to toe wraparound, it's a lot more of a minimal footprint. Any information on the outside is information that's relevant to the community, indicating what's open space, indicating what the bathrooms are, having some sort of QR code for the Maritime Pavilion, so that, let's say there's a school or a local organization or whoever who wants to be able to book that space, it's easily accessible there on top of the website.
does that wrap around for both the Maritime Pavilion as a whole as well as the top, correct?
Yes.
We are thinking of just the pavilion space. It's just a top wraparound indicating that it is a community facility, that it is a public. That's the type of.
So we asked Watermark to remove their signage from the parkland space that was on top because you couldn't see that it was parkland.
Yeah.
Which they obliged on the land side, not yet on the sea side. And so the question is, will that be removed from the whole public park
I think
and not come back?
my perspective on this is it is appropriate commitment from our dock NYC operator that the upper railing that provides the transparent visibility to the park will not, in the course of their operations, have a consistent wrap around it.
And the Maritime Pavilion downstairs?
I think as Tara just mentioned, right now, that is fully wrapped, and I was down there taking literally measurements, so I'm extremely familiar with it right now. Making sure that we don't repeat that sort of 100% wrapped nature. There are a couple of panels there where you have kind of utility rooms behind it. You're not getting transparency one way or the other in those cases. Also, when we're talking about the uppermost band there and the lowermost band, where it's sort of below waist height and then well above, opportunities for information, statement of Pier 15, public bathrooms, information like that. But making clear with the signage and any decals that are on there, that there is a public bathroom that is there, that this is a community pavilion, maritime space. And the way I've been thinking about this maritime pavilion is that it's like a conference room at the public library. Meaning that anybody who is engaged in an appropriate activity for that context, if it is available, and I think that's just something I'd really like to hear from the community board, is a day of commitment appropriate? Is if a camp wants to use it for a week long on a regular schedule, what is appropriate or not appropriate from the community board's perspective?
So Jonathan from the museum, obviously expressed interest with Battery to Bridges to actually operate that with programming, not for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, but period, as a basic and my understanding from the old RFP was that the Maritime Pavilion was supposed to be split in half. So approximately 1,700 was supposed to be community space and small aspects that for ticketing only. I don't know what you're looking at to do now.
I think there's the front office space, right now, that has, ticketing, facilities, there. And I think we have yet to get in access to it in the same way that a landlord and a tenant, may have their relationship. We have not had a walkthrough, with Hornblower of that space with Dock NYC at this point in time. So this is very much on the agenda to engage in what is the most appropriate layout, allocation of space, how this will work.
And will historic vessels be allowed? It says completely reserved for historic on the east end. So that's only the only thing that happens there.
And only for 21 days a year at max.
Wait, I'm very confused by that.
Yeah,
The most comfortable portion.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what section you're talking about. The present case is Brooklyn.
Yep.
What is the 21-day limitation?
That was what was stated previously in the prior RFP, or in the ULURP.
I mean, it can only be used by an historic vessel for 21 days out of the
Correct.
year? Why?
I'm not
The statement was because of how it would block views, and so I think.
Blocks what?
the view of the bridge.
I mean, a set of tall masts is gonna block the view?
That was an agreement from the previous.
It was in the prior RFP. I'm not sure if it's part of the zoning or not. In general, not blocking the views is in all of it. So,
I have heard it argued, however, that the masts of a tall ship are the view.
okay.
If you ever look at somebody looking up at those things, you'll understand.
If that's the perspective here, then, I mean.
I
we're
mean,
happy to-
I can see why you wouldn't want a 6-story cabin up there, yeah.
So the question is, for the other 344 days, what is the plan for the east side? Is it the same as anything else? Anything goes?
No, it would be open. The only activation would be up to 21 days, but that is something, I mean, obviously something from the prior agreement that we wanted to maintain, but if it's of perspective of the community, that additional days for historic vessel, that's helpful for us to hear.
That's one perspective, I would say that we want to discuss that, because, you
Yeah,
know, your
It's not simple.
well, Dave, your point is well taken, but that's assuming that you're standing a block away. When you get up to a boat, ship or whatever, you are really, definitely the view is somewhat compromised. Better, it might be, or worse, but it is different. It is definitely
different.
it is impacted by the.
Yeah, you
face
don't
of
see
the-
that.
So, and
You
it-
can't
so
see
so I think it takes more
You
than
can't.
just.
And there's a beautiful
assess
seating
that-
area and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we'd have to see that and,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you can get past one. Okay, next slide.
I mean, that is it for our formal presentation. We did have one additional slide here just to explain the lease versus operating agreement, but I think we got it to.
You can go to that.
Okay.
Why not?
I think just, you know, since there was a lot of questions last time around re-RFPing for this site, we did wanna just have this in there as a reference point to understand what is the difference between procuring for a lease versus an operating agreement, which our plans are for at this point in time. So lease is generally a longer term thing. Hornblower had this 20-year lease. They terminated it earlier than that, but generally this is a longer use. There is generally low flexibility. A lot of those terms are fixed at the onset. Any type of adjusting or amendments would have to be amended through a renegotiation with a lease. And then obviously for community engagement, a lot of those expectations are set at the start of that lease, but there's less flexibility for the city to intervene in changing some of those requirements. An operating agreement here, the city is involved, and so who we're bringing on for the agreement is more for management and day-to-day, but the city is really setting kind of policies, and there's a lot more flexibility. So let's say at the beginning, we think it's 21 days that it should be activated for the historic vessel, but we want to change that to 30 days in a couple months, we can do that. With a lease though, that's kind of locked in. And So those kind of things aren't really changeable. And so things like how we can, what our policies are, those, we have a little bit more flexibility there. And then as Max said, obviously for an operating agreement, the city is choosing what to have versus what not to have. And so right now, as we're thinking about this site, Pier 15 would be within the citywide program of Dock NYC. If we choose there's another use for this and we do want to procure this later down the line, we can. Versus if we're locking it into a lease right off the bat, that's, we have to wait until that whole lease is finished.
Go ahead, Brendan.
Motion to wait 5 minutes.
I need a agreement in the room, 2/3 agreement. I think we need a little more than that.
Yeah.
So,
Just a little more.
so why don't we say 15 and then vote? No, there's 3 times,
At the most.
at the most.
Hey.
Okay. Pat,
I just have two things. I haven't heard any mention of September 11th. I don't know if you have any programming, but September 11th, it's the 25th anniversary. So along with everything else that's happening all over the city and Lower Manhattan, just remember that. Invitation to September. And the second thing is whoever is going to be operating off of the pier, please make sure that you mention that we want people to take public transportation. No black cars, no private cars, taxis, take public transportation to get to the.
Ferries.
so
Ferries.
that is, ferries. Oh, that is. That is something that we would ask that Don puts in his agreements with any of the party votes, is that they have a transportation plan.
Yep.
And that
Please.
flat cars and, I mean, buses are fine for drop off and pickup, but we're not looking at for hire vehicles line South Street.
Yeah.
It's an iterative process, as you know, we work with the community. We're the type of company, New York Waterway, Dock NYC, we don't wait for somebody to fix the problem.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if something's dirty, we clean it. If something needs to be fixed, we fix it. I'm getting a look because I'm thinking about boats, but I can't, I'll have that conversation
I
separately.
think Betty and
I
I
need
might
your,
disagree about some
I
of those
need your
votes.
help on that, actually.
Well, they're not.
But that's what we do,
No, no.
honestly. That's how we operate.
This
It's a
might-
partnership.
Tell us,
So-
the Hornblower, why did they get out of this?
Oh, that's what we were asking.
What's going on with Hornblower?
Businesses have evolving business models. And Hornblower has refocused their strategy when it comes to departures. I believe they are kind of consolidating this particular area of their business on the west side of Manhattan out of Chelsea Piers. But
They can make noise over there.
Yeah, they certainly can.
It's a very,
Okay,
And this
Thank you.
operation includes the green space on the pier.
it does not.
not.
That is part of what we have to put in because
I thought he mentioned that the plans.
he
and
mentioned it, he
contracts-
doesn't control it, so.
The green space is under Parks' jurisdiction.
Right.
EDC has an MOU, memorandum of
And you know, being
understanding
under
with them.
parks.
You don't do it for 35.
Doc NYC is a great partner.
We do, if you could.
Helping with
Place.
additional, but it's not officially in their jurisdiction.
So Tara,
Parks.
please understand when I say this with love for EDC. Sort of. We have had community agreements and community benefit agreements that have been negotiated by EDC and other locations on our waterfront that are holistically ignored. There is no reporting method that's obvious. You and I have spoken before because, yes, I know how to find Don and I know how to find the boat number of the boat that's screaming up the Hudson at 4 o'clock in the morning, making noise that docks over. Like, so I know how to find that. The public has no idea. It's extraordinary,
Yeah.
right? So how do we know that the public access agreements and public amenity agreements that are done will be held to? They are not held to at the Battery Maritime Building, no matter how many times we try and deal with that, right? That's on my waterfront, not very far away. We have other issues about access to our public parks and our waterfront. Our concern on this board that's been raised numerous times and by Battery to Bridges as a coalition is from the Battery to 36, and Don's at both ends of this. Because everything is, well, I manage the berthing. That's parkland. I can be helpful. But it gets to a point that's not actually a holistic vision. There's not anything. And the public doesn't necessarily know where they're gonna go to log a complaint.
Yeah.
So how, Don, are you gonna be able to accept noise complaints from this pier in a way that's publicly accessible? I haven't seen anything yet. There's nothing set up at 36, there's nothing set up at Brookfield. So this is a city thing that, I mean, I can call Betty and say, hey, the boat is screaming past you. Can you look out your window and tell me what the name of that boat is? Or I can find it online. There's no public pathway for it.
Well, yeah, we have a contact on our website, you reach us, but I will say, this, you could ask Janet Handel from Waterside. She calls me any time of day with a complaint. So people, our numbers are out there, accessible. You can call and it's not a joke.
With all due respect, I called you once and you said, that one doesn't come from Brookfield.
I
Did not know you were talking NYC.
But I also
Like it
said,
must have been from another pier.
but I also said I
Surprise.
would reach out to them. Right? So, and I do that.
Okay.
Fairness.
I think this is the kind of information we'd love to have, make sure that it's accessible not only for booking space, but also who to reach out and that's very clear on kind of the signage outside.
On that same point, you mentioned that any vessel once underway from Pier 15 would have a restriction on its sound system, so it would not be heard beyond half a mile. What about the Watermark Bar?
That goes to EDC.
Yeah, just to avoid confusion, what Donald said and what is the language inside of our berth permits is that vessels cannot have audible noise when they are within a half mile of the berth that they are scheduled to go to. He did not say,
I got that backwards then.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so what we'd love to see is what a half mile looks like on the east side.
But what about the Watermark?
The Watermark Bar has, I can't,
You
I
know.
don't know that agreement directly. I'm happy
Right.
agreement,
More or
but
less.
what I suspect in the context of the Watermark Bar, the regulatory regime overlay onto that is standard Department of Buildings or DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, noise requirements. I'm speculating on that, so ask not to be held on that, but
No, but I will hold you to
Yeah.
find the rules and let us know because it is your
we're
list.
happy to do that.
That's
Yeah.
very loud.
Yeah, Betty?
As far as the city DEP rule is 80 decibels, which to me is very loud. I mean, even the stuff down the road, speakers in Rockefeller Park don't go to 80 decibels.
No noise carries,
Well,
and the noise carries over the water.
What it is city.
So one of the things I think just for the resolution, we're gonna put in here, because I can't imagine that Don in his fancy ticketing office that he'll have on that location can't find a way to add 50 cents or $1 to every departing passenger on every ship. And if they are big or small, every dollar counts. And I could see raising enough money to really be helpful, even if it's, you know, it's not capital, it's at least helping a way to fund improvements for community programming, community benefit, plantings there.
The
I
green
mean,
space.
it, the green space is a little brown. And the, yeah. So I think that that's something that we're still gonna keep in here because I think it's not a hard add for tourists. $1's not gonna break their boats.
This is a long shot, but does does Dock NYC handle all the docks like on the west side as well?
No.
Nothing on the west side.
Well, no, we're on the west side, but
They're at the Battery.
we're in Brookfield.
Okay, so that's what I thought. So there's one dock that we're intrigued by, which is a little dock on Pier 25.
That's not him.
Not me.
He's not 25 at all.
No, it's 25.
That's Hudson River Park.
Only the part has that
And the
dock.
Pincus Group.
So that dock and whatever boat pulled up to it has
25.
nothing to do with this company.
Not at all. That's a completely
Just
different.
to try.
Hold on, let's stick to here for what this is.
And do our
So- and-
resolution.
Don, repeat for us all the piers that you manage on the island of Manhattan.
125th Street. Pier 79, which is a major ferry terminal.
Yeah.
We help with the management of Pier 78, not only because it's our neighbor and we like to keep it clean. Brookfield Ferry Terminal, as you know. Pier 36, East 23rd Street.
And directly across in Brooklyn, correct, from this pier? You're in Brooklyn also.
Oh, in Brooklyn, we, Brooklyn Army Terminal, that Pier 4. That's basically it in Brooklyn. Atlantic Basin, but very little activity in Atlantic Basin. They're basically, long-term tenants. Queens, nothing. At the moment, we actually helped the city with some waterfront property that has an industrial use on it on Newtown Creek. We are out in Mill Basin, which was a real problem for the city, and we cleaned that site up, and you can talk to the neighbors across the way, and they'll tell you that.
I've talked to my friends in 36, I'm good.
I'm sure. And, and then in, Staten Island, we have Pier 1, which is simply a berthing position, and a major operation at Homeport Stapleton Pier.
Could you say that again?
Major operation at Homeport Stapleton Pier, which is mostly commercial activity.
David,
Very quick question. So let's say I'm piloting my museum vessel or even a private big fat boat. I'm looking for a berth in New York City.
Mhm.
Would I call Dock NYC?
You can, yes, and if,
Would Dock NYC also advise me of facilities that are not under its management?
yes,
That is really good.
thank you. We are also a sounding board. We'll send you to the Brooklyn Bridge Marina if we think that's an appropriate place for you. If we, we don't have a lot of dock space, mostly.
In fact, some people will go to Jersey.
Right, and others are
So,
Liberty
very
Harbor.
I'm taking notes as I'm going along, repairing the piers. I know you're gonna tell me that's not you, you're a berthing manager, but how does that work with EDC and with you? Who's responsible for repair?
We have an arrangement with them. If there's a priority capital need, if you want to speak to that, they can direct me to make that repair. There's several ways that we get reimbursed.
Yeah.
There are aesthetic things that we do. We do those on our own, or we'll do them in cooperation with EDC. They'll say, look, I mean, every time I walk down that pier, I see that planter that has no plants in it. I just don't understand it, but that's fine.
The one in the middle?
The one in the middle, yeah. I'm a landscape architect also, so it makes me nuts. right?
It's parkland and the park, I mean, right now they have wood mulch
Yeah, it's
in there, but
it's always difficult for people.
They
I
need-
get it. Yeah.
hence the dollar thing to, I mean,
We are there, so we do maintain it. If I have the ability to access the water and everything else I need to maintain it.
If I could just
And you do there.
add the distinction here, everything that Donald's referencing in terms of projects implementation, that takes the form of birthing related facilities. So right now, due to the urgent need at 125th Street in order to keep a small business in business with the Baylander historic vessel up there. We took the spud barge out and we asked Dock NYC as our operator to expedite getting that into dry dock. And that was in part because of damage last year that was suffered by that vessel. Ice was very bad this winter and its impacts on that. We've had standing inspections on that have kind of said you're living on borrowed time on that. But that is a piece of infrastructure that is very specifically associated with berthing and vessels. Larger capital projects, substructure at Pier 36, substructure in Lower Manhattan. That is handled directly by EDC. That's really out of scope, not appropriate. Also, from the scale of these projects, they are projects that take years to design the solutions, permit the solutions, and more than often are tens of millions of dollars of city capital in order to get them done.
I'm looking for 40 to fix 17 and 16, so yeah, I got you. All right, for latest departure and return for the community board. He said 10 PM is his later departure, but there is no limit on the return. That is a concern for
That's
us
a real concern.
because it's residential across the street.
I would say,
We've restricted watermark, we've restricted industry kitchen, so the question becomes returns.
in the general activity is about 2 to 3 hours on the water, so I would say, the pier shut down and closed at 2. At 2, but, so. I'm just telling you what happens, but I mean.
If they dock at 1, it takes 45 minutes.
Yeah, if they go on at
Yeah.
10, it should be back by.
Yeah, generally the last hour is just people leaving the pier, right? So.
Yeah, which is where all the noise.
No, I got it. I understand.
So what are we saying?
I would say that it,
Off the pier by 2 AM?
yeah, everything
You
off.
guys
by
are
two.
nice. I think one.
Mhm.
Well, that
You
gets
were
good.
sleeping there. You'd be-
It's, no,
I did.
Well, so for
I live on the
UDC, if we set, we're gonna put in our resolution potentially too, we'll see what happens at the full board where the people
Yeah.
argue. But the question is, if it becomes a nuisance and the neighbors are up in arms,
What are you gonna do?
We're happy to keep on engaging, and I think this is a great opportunity about the operating agreement. is
Okay.
that the
Okay.
reins
What
are-
could you technically do though? What could you?
he can change it,
realistically?
he can
Shut it.
change it, he can change
they
it.
squeeze down the operating rooms.
Yeah.
You might want to go earlier on this timing situation.
1:30.
Yeah,
Well,
because you're,
But if you leave at 10, you come back at 1, people are leaving between 1 and
So you
1:30,
leave it.
You said 2 hours.
2 to 3.
2 to 3.
It's a
said.
2 to
You
3.
didn't hear
Generally a
3.
4 hour.
I think 2 was.
Feel like
fine.
it's-
You know.
No, I'm just telling you how it works.
David, then Netta.
Okay, when that first RFP was issued, South Street Seaport Museum was, shall we say, between managements and was not able to proffer a proposal. Now, at this juncture, it seems to me, given their role in the South Street Seaport Historic District, which contains Pier 15, and the use of the community space as well as the use of the dock, would it not be reasonable for you to be in some relationship with the South Street Seaport Museum as to planning?
Absolutely, yeah, and we certainly want to talk, we unfortunately could not schedule that conversation before today, but we are hoping to talk to them about.
We can make a
potential
recommendation.
partnership.
It would be eager to speak with you.
And so Don does programming with Bones.
Yeah.
I don't think Don, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, your strength is on-site community programming in spaces like this. So it would be,
We do it. I mean, we do it, we do, I mean, we
Right.
curate
It's
art,
not
we
your-
curate,
it's
it's
not
not,
your
it's not my
part.
main line of business.
so it would be better to, that I know Battery Bridges had lots of ideas. They were working with Jonathan about doing, photo contests with local kids and doing exhibitions in the space and really having a presence to connect the waterfront all the way up and to activate it in ways that may not work for you, but work to drive people over to the area to support the parks and support the local businesses.
We're happy to work with them.
Okay.
We ran the East River Service, we were a major sponsor of Photoville, I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, that was
So
great.
our goal would be to have the Maritime Pavilion programmed.
Happy to work with them.
Most-
I do need
the
office, I need
majority of
office
the
space.
I'm just gonna say, I appreciate your vote for your proof, the battery,
For the-
maritime.
With,
Bridges.
with Jonathan.
Yeah,
Don't
but
forget
it's
seniors,
absolutely critical
senior
because you're up and
program.
running and
Yeah.
it's kind of a new thing that has yet to be tried to
Very,
do.
very
Fabulous.
simple.
But it's critical that the first thing is the Seaport Museum.
Absolutely,
Like me.
absolutely.
I think, for example, Amistad has made a date to come use Pier 15. The museum is going to want to know that and program with them.
Right,
And they will.
Okay,
They will.
Perfect.
that's why they.
Did we have them already?
I have one
I
other
don't.
question.
Did we have them on the 25th?
Okay,
No, I'm just talking to Tenny. I thought we had them already at one of our locations.
yeah, wonderful boat.
But I just wanted,
Mr. Rankin,
Miss Harold, remember Harold?
you already have something set up with Clipper City?
they've come to us and asked if they could do this, what they call harbor camp, where they train young kids in how to handle a sailboat. And then they go out on the boat, they teach them how to tie knots, they teach them about how to handle a ship. So, we have a relationship with Tom Burton, he's one of our tenants.
Yeah.
So, but I also want to point out, we did operate out of Pier 17, New York Waterway did. So for a number of years, we operated right out of the notch in between 17 and 16. We had a ticket booth, a historic ticket booth. It was approved by the South Street Seaport Museum. And we had a relationship which was then the Rouse Corporation. You might remember we ran the Yankee Clipper out of there. And then we were there for probably half a dozen years. And I think the Yankees went into a slump and
Don't blame me.
It's really critical to your point, and it's highlighted how you write this, whoever's writing it, that Seaport Museum is also the whole idea of the Seaport being a historic district is really found in that museum. And somehow the respect to that and the exchanges with it will be really important now and going forward. You're making a face.
Yeah, because I don't think the museum.
That's shit.
Oh, it's beautiful. They just finished stuff.
Oh, yeah. Some of
I
us
was
have
here
the
50
different
years, I never
opinions.
did
Just
that
focus on
museum.
what they do and don't do. They're the only, if correctly, if I'm wrong, they're one of the only groups down in South Street.
Well,
Seaport
there'll be
are
enough.
All right,
dealing
hold
with
on.
this.
All right,
That's
let's
all.
go.
Hold on, we got this.
I want to make
It's
sure
South
we
Bay
have
Seaport
senior
Museum,
programming.
PWC, and other nonprofits. That's the way it'll read on the
Okay.
resolution.
We'll work
Okay. The other things that we mentioned that were here, I'd really like to ensure, one of the things that does concern me about an operating agreement, opportunity for continuous input and priority adjustments. That also means that it could be that you decide that the Maritime Pavilion just needs to be fully for Dock NYC. That is in the purview of an agreement versus the lease, right? That commitments made to the public can be modified as needed. So that's one of those things that I'm actually gonna put in here that needs to be in perpetuity, that it's not what we have today, which was Hornblower taking the entire thing.
Correct.
Agreed.
Okay.
Okay.
But do we have any place that we can put that there's senior programming also?
Well, that goes under the nonprofit programming. Yeah.
Kids are always taken care of, but us seniors are never.
Listen, we got a really good idea for seniors.
Okay.
So for Parks Department, I really want to hear from the Parks Department, because right now, I am very grateful between last week and this week, they took the railing off of half of the staircase to repair it because it was fully broken. That's going up to the second floor. They need a lot there, so I'd love to hear from Parks if they're on where they get their water, because that does seem to be, Don and I both noticed the same thing. It looks a little. I saw the Parks truck there, but there are a lot of dead trees, both up and down. The grass needs some help. So, the seating on the pier in general, the public seating that belongs in the EDC areas that are on the walkways needs some love. That would need some love out there. So who's responsible for fixing the public space areas on that pier? And I'm sorry, move Therese over. There we go. Therese, you're a panelist now, sorry.
That's all right. I keep getting kicked off at really juicy moments. I'm not really sure what's going on with this WebEx. How are you doing? It's all right. So what did you want to know more about?
So for us, we spend a lot of time around 15. We want to understand where the water's coming. For us, we also would love to do a leverage agreement. So if we get some money that could be put back into the pier, that would help Parks, simply because I think it's a valuable opportunity to fund repair, not capital, because you can't use it for capital, but to help do planting days that you can partner with the park on to make sure that, the plants are done. You could do a bulb exchange. I mean, there's so many things that could be done if it'll grow there. So the question I have for Parks is, who maintains it other than you and your two guys who I see in the truck? Thank you for repairing taking off the railing for repair. Do we know when that's gonna come back?
I can get an update from Jamal on that. He's working very closely with the supervisor there, Tia. So yeah, they're going to work on that in-house. We're probably going to have to put a temporary, not exactly the same type, to take care of it.
Understood. Do you have fresh water there, or are you trucking it in?
So we have a water tank, and that's just really not functional, because we don't have water in the area. Their BMCR's got all of the water kind of disconnected and nothing's been reconnected. So we're really at a loss for all of our horticulture, from 36 down.
So you can't use any of the water that comes out of the bathrooms that are there?
We could, yes, but it wouldn't be very efficient.
So some way to use rainwater or collect? it?
Is it, yeah, do we do any rainwater capture potentially?
Not really. I mean, there's a highway overhead, so there would have to be a system built. So maybe we could look into that.
Perhaps that's something that we could help partner with you and Waterways on to do some rainwater capture on the pier, maybe from the second level, or if it comes off the roof line anywhere on the pier itself. I'd rather have the gutters take the water and put it into storage than have storage underneath the pier the way it is currently.
I can look
Do you
into that.
know?
No, we don't have that currently, but we can look into something.
I mean, relatedly, last night we talked about, did you mention this, the
Okay, so
dog park?
So the other problem that came up is just slightly south of 15 is the Wall Street Dog Run. And we've heard complaints from several neighbors. We've heard complaints from Industry Kitchen. We've heard complaints from people coming up and down in that area. And the reason why we end up having a lot more dogs on 15, 16, and 17 is because people do not feel safe in the Wall Street Dog Run.
Yeah, we kept engaging them daily, but there doesn't seem to be anyone accepting services. So we can't do more than that. If they're feeling unsafe because they're inside the dog run,
It's not cleaned regularly, in terms of like cleanliness, and there's homeless people.
Hanging out.
I'm sorry, the unhoused who end up, sleeping right around it. And there's a lot of lights that are nearby that are not, functional,
The main thing was that there wasn't water.
and there's no water.
There was
to
no
clean.
water, that people can't use the hose, and I know it's closed during the winter, but people were saying that even now it should be open and they can't use it, so if there's a way to turn on the water, that's why I brought it up.
nearby. Let me look into the hydrant nearby and see what we can do. I know they've hooked up the pressure washer to it, so.
Great. And would there be a hydrant near Pier 15?
There may be. I need to look. I don't think there is at the moment.
So I don't think there is either. They're just-
I'd work guys, yeah.
They
There is-
service the boats, they fill the boats,
Do they?
the tanks, yeah.
So Parks, Therese, Don's saying that there are tanks at Pier 15 to fill the boats.
Yeah, they have a pump
So
out there,
if
fresh
the
water.
tanks are there with
Why
fresh
not?
water to fill the boats, then we should be able to have, you use that. I don't know if there's ever been a conversation or connection cross-agency to get that functional, but that would be a really great opportunity.
Great, thank you.
Water system works for the boats.
Are we sure?
Almost positive.
EDC, are we sure the water system works for the boats?
Yeah, we have been pushing for some time to, with Hornblower, with these guys, for a walkthrough on the existing
Oh,
systems.
so
There have
they've
been
kept
some
it.
Functional improvements that
Hornblower,
Hornblower undertook over the last decade, and.
But aren't they leaving?
That's correct.
Can't you just,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
If
this
they
is,
put it in.
we are looking to get a mutual education,
Okay, also,
calendar.
because what we'd like to do is, we're looking as a community to have a more holistic vision to help parks out.
Yeah.
Because, yes, BMCR will eventually be done, but if they don't have to rely on trucking water in, that would certainly make Pier 15 far more lush.
Absolutely.
And
And efficient.
Therese,
Yes.
whose responsibility are all the seating areas that are on Pier 15?
The upper deck is something that we maintain daily. There's certain areas of encroachment that we can't maintain because there's a bunch of structures, but there's areas that we've been wood chipping down below and just generally maintaining with the snow and things.
Okay, what? All right, so the last, understood about the top level, understood about the encroachment. There are still public seating areas on the lower level, which include the picnicky places out front, in front of Pier 15 on the land side, which is in front of the Maritime Pavilion. And then there's seating on the north and south sides on the lower level. Who maintains those? EDC or you?
I believe that's EDC, but you're gonna have to send me a picture of what you're talking about. It's is it seating or is it like a wood platform?
There's yes, there's a bunch of different things. There's
Seating.
there are steps that are seating, but there are tables and chairs on the front side of 15. As you're walking towards it.
The upper deck
are
or the
kind of-
lower deck?
The floor, the main deck, the first floor. And then there's seats out to view the water on the east side.
Yeah, I think the tables and chairs are a part of that encroachment. So it's might be part of the vendor at the moment. So I would need to see a picture.
Alrighty. So I think what I would like to also put in this resolution is that we should do a walkthrough with Parks, EDC, and Don. All right, who's gonna be our partner in the community board. We'd like to be all together, maybe even pull in the South Street Seaport Museum because they're on 16. And have a really robust walkthrough with all of us and be able to say, hey, we need water, I need this, and really find out who has what. And that has to be before June 1st.
Yeah.
We really need to get that on the calendar, and I'm gonna put that in our resolution.
Like the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It should be before horn blower's gone, and then they don't ever say anything again. All right?
Okay.
Therese, will that work for you as well?
Yes.
Awesome. So yeah, we're working for you. We're working for the park, man.
Thank
Our
you.
favorite underfunded department.
Yes.
Okay, so with all that, I have in here the walkthrough. I said, I have the 14-day notice for FIFA information, and sale 250. We understand that you may have changes, but to understand the core, we really still want an update on what you're doing with the Staten Island ferry boat. Because what we heard was definite, maybe not so sure. That to me is ED speak for yes. So we'd really like to know. 2 boats operate at the same time, what teeth are required, right? And for understanding to ensure that the maritime community partners and programming are done. And for a complaint line, how is that gonna work? No for-hire vehicle pickup, mass transit and buses. 10 PM is the last departure, return is 2 AM.
Right.
And 2 AM works because that's also when the restaurant has to close and industry kitchen, so you're all
Is it
closed.
return 2 AM or is it?
No, that's not what we said.
No, last person off the docket too.
Dude.
Oh, last person on the docket.
Your closes at
Not
2 a.m.
return it. to-
Pier
no.
closes at 2 AM.
Thank you.
That's not docket 2 AM, the pier closes at 2 AM. Public complaint line, no storage under the ramp. I know Don will need storage somehow, but please figure out a way that there is storage that does not compromise the park space.
I assume the sanitation question has been covered somewhere along the line, like where garbage goes and.
I thought so, but I would put that there. That reminds me. What's currently underneath the ramp is sanitation for both, Hornblower. I don't know why they have giant garbage trucks, cans under there,
The boat owners take their garbage with them,
okay?
right? And they take it to where they berth. Whatever garbage we generate on the pier, if there's bags, we will empty garbage cans. That's what we do. So we'll probably have to have a small container somewhere on the site.
What about composting?
And where is that gonna go on the site?
I haven't had the opportunity to do the walkthrough to
I have to
suggest.
say,
That's
when we
what
take our
Been out
walk,
there, but there's a lot of details that we don't.
when we take our walk.
Um,
And when you talk about black cars, they're gonna be black cars, but they should provide somebody to monitor it,
They need to have a transportation
Okay,
manager if they're gonna
okay.
do any kind of, anything other than mass transit.
Yeah, yeah.
Composting?
They don't compost
They don't have to.
because it leaves on the boat with them.
What about a restaurant?
That's not these guys, that's a whole different. And security,
When people get off the boat and they throw something out, that's the responsibility of. Okay, so I guess.
Right,
There's a
that's where-
garbage can, we empty the garbage cans.
right,
So is that material composted now?
No, no.
I-
That's the city, no.
In New Jersey.
but,
Take it to the
but
left.
more than last person off the dock, not just staff, we want security. We want security
Security
to
is
ensure
there.
that people leave the boat and get to
Where they're going.
where they're
out.
going, that they're not. Watermark has an event going, we don't want them coming off and going into Watermark.
Got it.
Not at 1 o'clock in the morning. We want them all
Yeah.
the other way. All right,
Do you want a list of all the tour boat operators that he
Yes.
works with?
Thank
so
you.
We can ensure the third parties aren't.
On could be new ones, but we'll give you whatever we work with.
Yep, and we'd like that before you start. Right. Anything else, everybody?
Would we consider different programming because of the festivities that's scheduled this summer in the city? To
As
me,
long as it's
this is a-
maritime related.
This is a 5-year operations, so the restrictions on that are long-term, but if there is an event for FIFA, you want to bring a party bus for like a week or two, maybe the community would be more open to it if we knew what it
Supposed to be-
was and what they would do as opposed to saying the party bus is coming and it's indefinitely. That's kind of like, it's a long-term issue as.
You're
opposed
talking
to-
party boats, not bus,
Oh,
right?
yes, that's what.
I know.
Question is around things that.
So it's just a suggestion that maybe if we want
Can I,
to restrict the long-term operations, fine, but if there's a limited period of time that the city, the whole city is having a giant event like the FIFA, maybe the community would be much more receptive to a program that
FIFA runs into Sail 250, so the priority for the pier would be Sail 250, not FIFA.
But still, it has a duration that happens in the city. It's not gonna be for the 5 years. If EDC comes up with a plan that says, listen, there's like 6 months or 4 months or 2 months or whatever the duration is, and we have done a study, it's not gonna damage this and that, but we want to.
That they should be required to come back to the community board to discuss that for any long-term birthing.
Yeah.
Can I call the question?
Yeah, and I assume it's built into all of this, because EDC owns, you know, the whole resiliency, your whole 5IC port plan, which would put all of this out to pasture for about, I mean, it's to somewhat.
I mean, that is a,
Yeah,
longer
that's-
term thing.
Yes, of course, okay, yeah. Okay, let's
Call the
call the
question.
question. Second.
Oh, wait.
Betty,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Speaking about community programming is very nice, and then it is. When is the public getting to walk off the street and be on?
every single day.
A lot of things are programmed and given away to other groups. I don't want groups allotted too much time. There's gotta be time where walking people can just go and sit on the pier.
Betty, the pier is public. The Maritime Pavilion is where they were talking programs. There's a
Upstairs.
full upstairs deck. And there's public space that can't be programmed down below unless it's permitted by parks.
But upstairs is not ADA.
It's like some of it is definitely open for periods of time. But even if you say you can never have closed space, you can never use that, because we're gonna program that and give it out. If they come from there and say,
I've
well,
never seen it.
children, so let's go out onto the pier.
Yeah.
The point is, when are they not allowed to program it? It can be just plain open hours, to whoever wants to walk in or out, nobody can sign up as a group, take over the space.
Therese, how many permits have you issued for the second floor for the pier?
Trivia, I gotta look that up. It's a lot. Let me find out.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody have access rights to the second floor for a private event. And that's the public space, and then the public space that we fight, and Francis, one of our board members, and we've sent my kids another.
Betty's point into that.
Betty, the sides of the pier are and the middle of the pier are public always, and they're always supposed to be public, they're part of parkland. So those are not supposed to be unless it's permitted, but that's not done, he can't close that space. And watermarks above their landline, that's a different story, but that,
Yeah,
the public space.
Fourth of July was the only time I've seen it last year, so let me find out for sure though and get you an official answer.
Yeah, the 4th of July, we were up there.
There should be certain times when anybody can visit. It's not closed to.
Always.
It's always,
There's
always, the only time it, last year,
What?
the only time it was closed.
Was
the
the
only
4th
time
of July.
Second Betty's request here, I don't think there's anything wrong.
Well, we can put it in
Or
there.
that the
Yeah,
community
why
board
not?
wants to be
We've
insured,
got
but
it.
if
We
it
gotta
remains
move,
a
guys.
public space.
Let's go. It's already.
Bill got it, his lawyers are leaving at 8.
How many closures a year do you wanna say for the park space?
How many closures a year for the park space?
Cause it's normally it's open, the only time
I
I
wouldn't say.
was 4th of July.
I'd say just,
4th of July, because it was a great place to view.
Okay,
Be
we'll leave
no
it to 4th of
closure.
July. I
Yeah.
actually thought it should have been open. Okay.
Yeah, you're right,
Got
because
it.
it was Macy's.
Right.
That- yeah.
So with that, question called,
Yes,
Seconded.
question second,
Mm.
all in favor? Are there any, if you got your online, your cameras up, are there any opposed?
Did Brendan leave?
Are there any
Yeah.
recusals?
No.
Don't worry, Betty.
Yes.
Or denials? Perfect.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you very,
Thank
very
you
much.
very
Thank
much.
you, thank
We'll
you,
get this to
thank you,
you
thank you.
post full board in April.
Bye.
Thank
we'll
you.
talk.
I didn't know if that's a promise, a threat, whatever.
No,
No, we help.
Thank you very much.
we've worked with those.
Sorry, you can't have that card.
Oh, I need your help with these phones.
All right.
With horn blower?
No. Right, so we'll plan the walk.
There's millions of dollars tied up. I cannot get them to-
Yeah, that-
I'll make that.
Fine is done.
Yes.
Hopefully it won't be a few days.
John,
Happy to come.
come and present.
Let's,
We'll
let's
do
go,
it.
guys.
Okay, come on, come on.
We'll do it in EPC or transportation.
Maybe you'll come to the
And we will
walk.
do a resolution.
Okay. Please. Right now.
So is that done?
Yeah. I also.
If they ever have any machine issues, I'm gonna get back to their day-to-day.
So you like Joe?
Absolutely.
Are we gonna move on? Where we gotta go? Don, see you at the walkthrough. Don, see you at the walkthrough.
Our numbers.
So who runs the Wall Street? Who runs the Wall Street?
Day-to-day.
EDC and DOT. I run Brookfield. We also manage the docks for Governor's Island, BMB, Swansea, that's us. We run the boats.
Thank you.
We got 6 minutes. Okay, guys.
Okay. All right, let's get rolling. Our poor outdoor dining folks, I appreciate that.
Thank you, thank you.
It's George's.
Quick, quick, quick.
George's going first?
We got.
George's is first.
Yeah.
And then we'll do Casa.
Yeah, he's here. Oh, Bill is here. Cause he's got, his lawyer has. to make
Betty,
it.
Betty,
Guys,
we gotta go. Okay, thank you very much for George's. We're gonna, Pat, hand that out. A former board member
and
from George's.
our neighbor for 50 years.
Yep, welcome. We're
More than
back.
50 years.
We're back with outdoor
That's-
dining.
Oh, that's your, that's.
You're gonna lose the quorum with me.
Yeah. Let's,
So, just so
okay,
you know.
go for it.
Basically, I've been having outdoor dining for the last 15 years, prior from Consumer Affairs, switching to POP. And it basically hasn't been changed, hasn't been altered whatsoever. I did lower the tables on it. The only difference is from 10 years ago, that we used to close at 9 o'clock, now we close at 6 o'clock. So there's no music outside, there's no any bleachers. Yeah, so our hours now from 7 to 6, that's compared to 6.
We can't get any food.
So you're asking for 5 tables and 10 chairs, and you've never had them before?
I was
It's always there. Yeah, he's always had it.
This is under the old program. This is his application with DOT.
Under.
Fairs.
Can we say yes and just
Yes.
go? Nope.
I move,
I move that we,
I
That's one,
second.
that's two.
done.
Okay, everybody approves. There's no opposition.
Love you guys.
Bye.
How you want to say?
Okay, Casa, bye, dearie.
Bye.
Restaurant, 157.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Jim. By the way, Asian, it's like Asian. Yeah.
Okay, so, CASA has been to us before many times. Yeah, so let's see what you got going. And are you gonna do roadbed and,
First,
Yeah, he left.
is there a picture?
it's the blue ones here. I'll hand it down.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, this is one. No, this, yeah, it's two different pages.
It's
Okay,
two.
thank you. Oh, I see, okay, thank you.
Have we seen these pages?
Well, last year, remember we were. Open Street?
Yes.
We were Open Street and of course, we had a lot of resistance because we closed the street.
Oh, yes.
So even when you were up, so what happened? So we only opened until 9, but still, and people in the neighborhood were complaining? No, it's
The
just.
street was closed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now we decided to go dining because we don't want to be Open Street again. It's too
Yeah, the
much
street was
work.
closed.
No matter how many times we say no parking or whatever, people park. So every time we are gonna open, we have reservations and we have to call people want to see if they can come in. Because most of the times we're cars for the building department actually. You're department of building.
So-
So that was your biggest, I'm just really curious about this of the open street, because very interesting.
The biggest
program
problem
was the parking.
Our biggest
We could
problem
never-
was the neighbors
Noise.
complaining about your
Yeah.
open street.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I just told them. I said.
Not just parking, the noise.
It wasn't the parking, it was
Noise.
this is the place where you went to go,
Remember you like used the bathroom and we
Right.
sat there while we waited for something. No, I remember
had-
now. We had 3 parties throughout the whole year. And that's when the neighbors didn't like it.
correct, it was the
And the
Brazilian Runners Club.
And it was a 3-hour party from 3 to 6 and the other one was 4 to 7. So it was always super early, but they didn't like it. So DOT stopped the open street in the
Correct.
location. It's a different, now they have concessions. So you have to have like an umbrella, company that actually is responsible for all the elements of open street. And we cannot do that.
I hear you.
We are
Okay.
too small. Okay, so normally
Now
open
we're
street
up
is
to-
more like Herald Square, places where there is a lot of
So,
kiosks.
I have a question. I just have a question. How many, you have, sidewalk?
No.
No sidewalk.
Why not, you're going for the car spaces, not the sidewalk. We're gonna go for roadside now. And we're gonna do the structure.
So you're not gonna do sidewalk at all ever?
No, sidewalk is like 6 seats and then you have to pay 1,500 for the permit. So might as well pay 2,000 for the roadside and then be able to open, construct the structure that everybody's constructing.
And so-
So you're gonna have 18 spaces or 6?
And 18th in the structure?
Yeah.
I mean, is this accurate?
Yeah. So that's interesting. So this is it's actually really interesting. This is $2,000. The sidewalk would have been 1,500, but this comes with the sort of structure that you. Yeah, you can build something with, for all.
With a top?
You can build anything on the top. Yeah, it's only one floor.
No, but they can have a roof.
So you're not applying for a sidewalk.
Can I ask you a crazy question?
I thought it was only 3 sides of the roof. Wasn't it 3 sides?
When you get to the, that's the same question I always ask.
Well, here it looks like, everything
It's
is.
2 middle tables you can, it's an aisle on either side.
Yeah.
But the other one, how's the person by the end gonna get there? They have to get past 2 other people. And they'll go right up to the edge. There's no surface aisle, there's no.
At the end.
So how do you pull your chair out and get out of your seat and get someone?
Take
Or
your
get
turn.
To the bathroom or wherever.
So you have to remove these 2, the last 2.
No, but I thought you had to have an aisle in the front and the back unless you move
No,
it.
She's saying that it's a table of 6, a table of 4, and 3 tables of 4.
No, but look,
So they're serving from the middle aisle.
but from serving, I thought you had to be able to go this way and this way.
No, you don't have to.
She's,
Is it just one then?
you're not supposed to use the curb as your service aisle.
Right.
That's the thing.
But then you're supposed to have a curb in,
So-
a service in here.
She could.
So where were they gonna serve? I still don't know. I don't get it from this.
No, But if you have your waiter here, how's he gonna serve this table over?
They're
here?
serving in between
How do
here.
you get to the seat?
Yeah,
Right
but I'm
here?
saying, look, if you have a waiter in here, how are you gonna serve this table over here?
You're having, it's a table of
That's not
six,
what
you're
the way
handing
it's
it
supposed to be, you're not supposed to hand it, you're supposed to be able to serve.
Yeah, so.
Pardon?
There, and then mom and dad.
Well,
Right,
that's true. that it's-
Betty's,
You walk up in the seats, I mean, how do you get them? You just like have junk.
you're supposed to have a service line that goes
So-
this way.
Would you do 4 tables of 4 instead to make it roomier?
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, we will see once we build and, once you have the kind
No,
of.
but you have to
structure.
have a service aisle.
Yeah, and then there is like, that front, that 25 feet includes already the structure thickness, so we'll see what's gonna fit there. We have to have service, so no matter.
But you
what,
can't-
we're gonna have to.
I'm sorry, but you can't wait to see, you gotta lay it out
Yeah, but
first.
that drawing was,
Here.
moved by the DOT.
Look,
They
here's
said
the
it was-
architect.
Here,
I mean, you can put 100
this could be a
chairs
family
there.
for 6.
It's our
Yeah.
job to say, how someone get their butt in that. Give them the space to get there, unless they don't.
It's coffee.
So basically, what's being suggested, if I'm hearing Betty, is to remove 2 end tables, for example, right?
Look, Alice, I thought you had to have an
4
aisle,
seats.
I thought you had to have an aisle that went across.
But see, right now they're showing individual tables, but if you imagine a family of 4 and a family of 6, right? Taking the each side of the tables that they have, then you can imagine that the kids go in, the parents go in, and they're all a family, and they can sit and they get served from.
How they're gonna get into that.
Yeah, but you can't get served from there, you have to be able to go behind or in
No,
front.
the curb that is shown
You
is.
can't serve from the
You
curb.
can't serve from the
No,
curb.
you serve from here.
The side, you're serving from the.
You serve from here.
No, you have to be able to serve, you have to
It's
be able
like
to
being
serve each
Christmas,
table.
guys.
You have to be
Guys,
able to
let's-
serve each table.
You have to, well, no, if they would have shown one table, now they're showing,
No, you have to
If
be able to
this was
serve
one,
from here.
They can.
You have to be able to serve from here,
why can't they serve from here?
because you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to be able to pass the food.
Okay,
You have
so
to serve.
what do you want to say?
You know what I
It's
mean?
not, I mean,
No, that's the rule.
Yeah,
Sorry,
the rule?
that's the rule,
supposed to be
sweetheart.
able to serve the
And they
food.
can't serve from here?
Well, they can't pass the food.
Right, you
have to
can't
get-
pass over these people, you have to be able to serve
That's
those
what the
people.
deal says. That's the way I've always read it. You have to be able to serve them.
Well, the restaurant that we went to, we were all sitting
All right,
and it was
stop.
served from the side.
We need, I understand DOT does not gave you this and said this is an approved diagram. We would like you to take off the 2 top at the far side because you can't get
Can you
people
just
there.
mark this? so
I am
know
gonna
what
mark
to
it and give it to you,
Okay.
and slide that back.
So it'd be 2 less seats.
It's 2 less seats, but that will get you, oh, wait, I need that one, sorry.
Here.
It has right.
We've got plenty of time.
Susan.
Yeah, we got plenty.
Yeah,
I'll mark
So
it
just
here.
mark it up, and
Take
then
off
what are your
this.
hours outside, please?
You tell me what you get.
Shh, it was the 90.
Where the 3s are, we're gonna take the 1 off.
The one at the
It
front.
was the 90.
Like kitchen
It's
closed.
She can then,
It's fine.
no, but she can then move it over. No, it's not okay.
Or top and never allow.
You have to have space here. So once she takes this,
Once she takes one out, she'll
you
be
can
able to
move
slide
things
in.
in.
Yeah. She'll be able
Pass
to
it.
make room around it.
Alice, here, pass it.
Sorry,
We'll go by and visit.
I'm not convinced that I go with Susan, it has to be shown in advance.
Yes.
Right.
It was 2.
Make it-
See where I put the X?
But can they, after they get approved, they can move the tables and chairs however they want? So we
They can
can,
get fined if somebody comes around and sees that they're
if
not.
they have more people than they got
Or if they're,
approved.
Can I ask,
Yeah.
are length of roadway cafe 25, do you know if DOT is applying for a waiver? Is the street wide enough for road bed there?
Oh, yeah, they actually came in, 2 inspectors, the senior. Like,
Yeah.
look at the-
Kenny came?
Yeah, they both came.
Okay,
There is a manhole there, so instead of,
yeah.
we applied for 9 feet, but now when they came measure, they want to give us 6.5.
yeah.
Gotcha, that's what.
It's $2,000 a year.
It's more than that, it's the whole, just to get to the point, now we have to publish things in the newspaper.
No, but I mean,
The whole thing is about 6,000 before you start building anything.
Really?
but is it an annual fee?
It's an annual.
Of $2,000 a year?
I don't know exactly how much it is, but it's around that. It's expensive.
I don't know.
Okay.
I call the question that we have all the information now.
Yes,
Okay.
she ends at, Susan, we have all the information, right? She ends at 9:30. She's not doing,
Sidewalk.
there's no sidewalk. Yes.
Just the end table?
Yep.
This one here I have to remove.
Okay.
Want to put the X on.
Remove and space out.
So you have to have room on both
So
sides.
people can get in over here.
It's the one that.
We're gonna move everything over a little bit.
Mess, but
So
it's
Betty,
the,
please.
the one that was the six top on your plan there.
She's coming by to show you, Betty.
One of them.
I still don't know how you're gonna get to all these tables. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Gerald, one helps.
So if they do have families, I think it's fine.
It's fine. So there's no sidewalk.
And then
She said kitchen closes
Closes
at
at
9:30.
And nobody sits there.
Right. All right, and so we're good?
Yeah.
yeah.
Call the question.
Okay. Betty, the question was called and seconded. You can abstain.
I just still don't understand.
Okay. It's all right.
You can abstain. All right, all in favor?
Thank you very much.
And
Any
Justine-
abstentions,
Oh, yeah, it's just.
recusals, or opposed?
If you review it, because
Morgan abstaining.
Are you abstaining? Betty abstains.
Abstain or no?
Abstain or no, which one?
for lack of information, I hate to say no, I'll abstain because I
Abstain.
can't vote for it.
Okay, fine.
And Jupra, can you please, send us a new diagram?
Yeah, we definitely will. I'll ask-
Before the meeting next
The
week.
number of tables and shares.
16.
Configuration.
16.
4, 6.
No, I know, I just meant in the.
16. So you understand, just move it away from the edges.
Okay, and get it to us before the meeting, a big meeting.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Okay, please.
Karen.
Okay,
I think you.
so,
Thank you.
All right,
Sorry, he has to
bye.
wait so
Sorry.
long.
thank you. Thank you very, very
Bye.
much. All righty.
Okay, what's this about?
Last thing relates to.
Okay, so
Let's go for it.
there's a law being proposed in the state legislature, in the state assembly, that relates to alcohol service for World Cup. And it's called for certain special events. Now, Betty was very, I think it was Betty who said it to me, right? If it works for World Cup, it potentially can work for the Olympics, and it could work for this, and
What was
So-
it for mass events?
right, so we need to give feedback. We can do it by resolution, we can do it just in letter form. I think it's probably better by resolution.
No, but tell us what it's about.
This is about,
Allowing additional uses around the World Cup. So extended times,
So 4 a.m.
extended spaces,
What do you mean?
alcohol.
So like you can't drink, it's illegal to drink in the park. So we're saying that now you can drink in the park?
so they would be able to file a restaurant, let's just
Can
say,
I give the nickname to the law? It's
Sure.
Sit and Fit. It's sip and stroll.
Sip and stroll.
Right. I guess you walk around, yeah, you're not bound by it.
Some, yeah, so
Sip and stroll
there's
is-
one part of it where you
That's so
can
funny.
link up
No.
multiple
Oh, it's terrible.
private places.
You don't
and so
like
then
it.
you can walk
It's
between
not
them.
No, Betty wrote, no. I
so
don't-
you can, for example, we'll
You're
use,
probably the only person who read this carefully. Did you read this?
Well, I've been reading articles about this for a while.
Yeah, she wrote.
But talk to us about it.
okay,
And keeps it
One at
in-
a time, only because I'm trying to hear what you're saying and understand it, so I can make
Okay.
my own decision. So, but yeah,
Ken is
so Betty,
gonna-
you
Ken is
don't
gonna
like
explain
it,
to us,
and
Justin.
Susan?
okay, so let me read to you what the hospitality
you.
alliance says. Because I think that, they have a pretty neat, summary of it, right? So you would be able to get its 1-day permits up to 12 from New York State Liquor Authority to allow off-site activations and expanded outdoor activations. Okay, so what does that mean? It
When you
means,
say you, a person or
no,
an
any restaurant,
establishment?
any restaurant,
Okay,
any business.
establishment, okay.
Okay,
That
So
already
it's-
has a liquor license or?
unclear. Bars and restaurants will also be able to use the World Cup one-day permit process to use contiguous outdoor space to host events during World Cup as opposed to the current maximum of 4 days. So, for example, this lovely restaurant could serve alcohol on the entire block. In addition, temporary expansion of permissible operating hours during World Cup, allowing bars, restaurants, and other eligible on-premise establishments, like in a hotel or whatever, to remain open whenever matches are broadcast and live. For the duration of the tournament, such legislation would allow licensed businesses in counties with earlier closing hours to operate until 4 a.m., indoors or outdoors, and would temporarily supersede more restrictive imposed hours and conditions on individual licensees.
Keep in mind, the games are played all over the place. They're in different time zones.
Right.
Yeah.
That'll,
So they're
and,
all in
and
Canada.
Go home and watch it.
And there's
So
no,
that- just to be clear on that, though, there are only 3 midnight games.
yeah, but it doesn't matter.
I
Once
just
you
want-
give them this,
I just want, yeah,
once
They'll
you
use
give
it for
them this,
everything.
they're gonna use it for everything.
They'll use it for everything and will never be taken back.
but it's a midnight game that goes till
Go
whenever,
home and watch it.
right? And if
Go
there's,
home.
Oh, but this is bringing a lot of tourists into the city.
Go to the hotel and watch it. We're gonna have a bunch of drunken people walking.
are-
around.
So,
I know,
all right,
we
so
don't
the
need to-
questions start to become, what do we want to say, right? Do we want to say that we think that 4 a.m. is okay in commercial zones, in hotels, in interior spaces only? Do we want to say that, not during weekdays, because if you're gonna be open till 4 a.m. and your neighbors upstairs
Have to
like
go to
we
work.
have, that's gonna be rough, right? So I think about what happened with Old Mates who came, right? And they're looking to set up a beer garden and the neighbors already came, supplied testimony saying they're not nice neighbors to start with, that they overflow onto the streets. For a location like that, it's a hot, trendy place. They'll be up and outside till 4 o'clock in the morning on any weekday or weekend. Maybe it's a weekend thing, maybe, to protect people who are going to school, happens to be during school finals, just saying, you're in public school.
They're
So,
also old people.
and people who work, and all of it. So I mean, we have to say something. And the question is, how do we feel about, there was also one part of the bill that, if I have a restaurant, and Zach has a restaurant, and Netta, the 3 of us can bond together
That's correct.
and have it,
Walk from
and do
your-
the street outside.
No, I would say.
Wait, I don't understand that last thing. What do you mean 3 of you could do it outside? 3
So-
restaurants on the block?
Over the street, as if it's an open street, and you can have, they're doing viewing, you can actually then rent the equipment, which is expensive, and show the event.
Right, but the concern is there's, when they're having noise complaints, whose liquor license does it go against?
Right.
Netta's, Zach's, or mine?
It's a game.
Depends on which day, right?
I think it's.
No,
I
it's
think
any
it
day.
goes against all of them.
But if it's,
because they
we
have
have
to-
3 days, each
It
one
goes
says it
against
has
all
for
of
1 day only.
But they'd all be selling and
I think it
I
goes
think it's a
against
terrible
all.
idea. Quality of life, we have always tried to keep it to 2 o'clock.
this is World Cup.
I don't care.
But
You don't care, but a lot of people really.
Yeah.
Then they can watch it at home.
No, I mean, you wanna watch it out, I mean, I understand completely.
Oh, what's it?
You wanna go to an Irish pub and sit there and watch
So
your team.
do we say indoor, but they want to do the outdoor, cause it's more people, it's more money, it's all kinds of things.
I think the issue is in a residential neighborhood for me.
Yes.
Netta?
The whole city is residential now, right?
Yeah.
Most of the city is residential. To me, is that, yes, I love football, soccer, and it's like a religion to a lot of people.
Yep.
Go to church.
It is a religion to a lot of people, and
Yeah.
I do not agree to like going till 4 and partying for the whole duration, but it's gonna happen. But it's gonna
But if it's
happen,
illegal.
but it's still gonna happen. I think what this law does is at least
Justine, you're next.
makes the city capitalize on it and gain some
Mhm.
money from it.
Right.
So,
Right.
They're gonna be getting money in other ways.
Justine's next, and then Betty.
It's just, I think it's just a
Stop,
matter
Pat,
of.
stop, let everybody talk. Justine?
You, so from what I'm hearing, I think it makes sense to put parameters on it because it is the World Cup, but we also live here and want to sleep here. And as Ned is saying, people are going to do what they're going to do, whether legal, illegal, who cares? They're going to do it. So let's make it so that it's with parameters. So I love the idea of kind of combining what Pat's saying. Do it at home. We'll do it in hotels, do it in bars, inside. If it's going to be outside, they need to shut down by what is our outdoor limit? Is it whatever it is, 2 a.m. is our
Midnight.
outdoor limit in places?
Midnight.
Whatever that
No,
is,
no,
it still
no,
needs
no.
to be respected because people live there. And as Netta says,
Justine?
we're all residential.
Justine, outdoor dining, you have to end by midnight.
Okay.
So that's,
That'll
this
be
would supersede that and allow you to serve liquor till 4
AM.
Unless we
Okay.
say midnight.
But.
I mean, yeah, we say midnight, and Zach said there's 3 games that would start at midnight our time. Would they be broadcasting them?
Yeah.
And what
But
days
you
of the
could
week,
be
Zach, do you
inside.
know?
If we're saying the parameters are inside is okay until
Inside's
4
okay,
a.m.
let people get trashed, it's gonna suck, it will still cause noise outside, it will still cause disruption, but at
Let them
least,
be inside.
but
You
yeah,
mean living-
inside, so inside should be good. Outside, they need to close it down outside and bring them in at midnight.
Susan and then Betty.
No, I have not, I think midnight and then go on,
Betty?
Betty.
I would go beyond midnight, but I think the bigger restriction I was thinking of is that it should have to end within an hour or two of the end of the game itself. Whatever the hell the limit is, I mean, 4 o'clock we know is not within the law anyway. But if a game happens to go until 1 or 2 in the morning, because in our times, because wherever it is.
Is there overtime in those games?
Yes, it's a
Oh,
90
yeah.
minute regular and then it
So
goes,
if it starts at midnight.
it can go to 4.
Well, then I think you have to give that kind of time. This is not a big deal. I mean, it is a very big deal. For those who want to pretend it isn't a big deal. See, put in earplugs. This happens every 4, it doesn't happen very.
If you're,
It's a huge deal.
Love us, I do love us
I
all,
think if you're an old person who's not into football.
and I'm old.
And I'm not in the.
Stop. I think if you're an old person who's not into football, I think if you're worried about taking your finals, if you're a kid, having people screaming outside the door until
Go to
4
work.
o'clock in the morning, I think of locations in Battery Park City that have windows open and stuff, and the neighbors log complaints all the time. So-
Sorry, but I'm gonna have to go soon, but I just wanna say, I think this, we're going to be voting on a resolution to support or not, or oppose this law. I think it behooves us to have read it pretty carefully. I don't see anything about hours in here. It's quite
It's so-
comprehensive about, I'm sure it's in there, but there's a lot here that's quite decent about it. So to sort of unilaterally say no or yes, I'm a little uncomfortable with that. I will be, if we ever take this to question.
It
is,
if we
I'm
don't,
abstaining.
okay, fine.
Because I have to say,
Zach, go.
yeah. I have to-
Zach.
So, this law was proposed and it's sort of like a jumping point. But, the chair of the SLA asked us, what
Right.
we thought would be things that we would think would be permissible for this period of the World Cup. And the idea is that people are going to be doing things, and this is a chance to put some reasonable guidelines on it that the board thinks are reasonable. If you say no to everything, then you probably just
Get screwed.
So maybe,
just as you do your, resolutions for licenses. So, you don't say no, you negotiate and figure out a middle term.
so
Yeah.
we take that law that's in front of us and we simply say that we're looking to include, the following
That's
concerns, because we're never gonna be
Right.
able to go
You
through every
could-
line of this.
So you could just,
Not tonight.
yeah, you could just oppose this bill
No.
and then,
You're gonna get nothing.
I'm not gonna
You're-
oppose
no, no,
it.
no, you could oppose the bill and then say,
Oh, as written.
you would say, you would think that hours indoors could be extended. You could say, one thing that came up was dancing, you would allow, permits for dancing.
Control in this. If
You would, you would say no TVs or TVs are allowed outside. TVs outside was the thing.
Unlicensed outdoor areas and bars set up with TVs throughout the duration of World Cup events. I mean, the question is, you can let them set up a TV, but you don't have to have sound on, right? The question is speakers and noise.
Yelling.
Yeah.
They're gonna be yelling either way.
This is all over.
Let 'em yell
July
inside.
31st. Everyone knows that.
But
It's June 11th through July
Yeah, I just want
31st.
to make sure that that's clear.
That's very clear, but
Yes, it sets a precedent potentially.
that's correct.
The Olympics
So
are
I
coming
think
in
you have to-
28 and there will be events in
And they'll
the
wanna
city.
do this for that.
But you
too.
won't have the kind of fanaticism you get for the World Cup.
Oh, but then you'll have to yank.
Regardless.
Doesn't matter.
Whoa, so here's a question. They said 12 one-day permits for the outdoor stuff, no more than 4 in a row. So you could do 12 total, but 4 in a row on any point.
So if you three had a bar to get next door to each other, you could do 4, you could do 4, you could do 4, and people would just wander from bar to bar outside making noise. So no. I just-
Possible,
we would-
but yeah, but also, we said only weekends, so that's not 4 days in a, oh, it's 2 days in a row, we're asking,
I
so.
think, for me, I think that we should suggest that it's restricted, that you can, weekdays, so Sunday to Thursday till midnight, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday to 4 would be okay.
Outside,
Depends on where the finals are. When are the final games?
I don't know.
It's like the 17th, to 18th of July.
I mean, I would just
The final
want,
game is in New Jersey.
I'll let them get on.
I would say in June that the hours are tougher. Just having school kids, I think is an issue.
Most games are in the day, just to be clear. Most
Yep.
games are in the day. So a lot of it is like,
So all
you
these
want
fanatics
TVs outside.
But all these fanatics are supposed to be at work.
Dude, it's not about the
Doesn't matter.
fanatics. It's about the fact that
So,
they can have
the TV.
activations and parties at night. That's really what it's about. So if the game is during the day
who
and
cares?
whoever wins, that those
Celebrate
fans
that
are
night.
having a party at night
Yeah.
until 4 o'clock in the morning.
I think we should limit it. I
Yeah,
do,
I do
till
too.
2,
Yeah.
till 2.
No, outside.
In or out?
Out and in till 4. I have no trouble inside till 4 at all. I don't, for this.
And I say 12 outside and 4 inside.
I would say I'm good at 4 inside. Outside, I would say midnight on weeknights and 2 on
Fine,
weekends.
fine, fair enough.
That's what
Okay.
we, that's kind
Yeah,
of what
yeah,
we
yeah,
do.
that's,
If the game is still actually going on.
But not outside.
I don't care, some are gonna do viewing outside, that's beyond.
And I would also say unless it's a commercial zone, because, or in, I don't
Yeah.
care what's gonna happen in, if you're on West Street, right, and you're in front of Brookfield, or you're at the Oculus, it's not gonna make a difference. If you're in a commercial zone, that's fine, but I think it's
We
bigger
don't
issue.
say that.
Then you're gonna have all the drunks
If
walking.
if the game is still in session, that it's these hours are the guidelines, but if it happens to be on the day.
But again, like,
And some people just go away because the game goes into overtime and they have to shut down.
Do we want speakers allowed outside?
Yeah, I think that's.
TVs outside.
Do you want TVs outside?
no, no.
I think that's the whole point. I think you can't, nobody's gonna stand outside. How are they gonna watch the soccer game?
You mean if they go sound?
The law seems to be pretty restrictive in the exterior stuff. It's not, okay, then I was.
Watch it in Times Square where they've got those big, huge TVs already set up. Oh my gosh, and then that would be beautiful. But in
That's a
residential
commercial-
neighborhoods,
that's a
no,
commercial
thank you.
zone. Yeah, I mean, that's a commercial zone, that's fine.
That commercial is fine,
You know how they show the movies in the.
but
summer
I
in
think
Clubs?
Betty's point is
Do we
right.
want TVs outside or not? Yes or no?
I don't.
For actual games, I do.
Yeah, I think.
I
got
think
to.
you have to. I'm sorry. I just don't think, what's the point of this
You already
then?
said, once they do this, they're gonna use it for everything else, but okay.
Well, at this
I
moment,
mean, if you're not outside, many of these places, you see them all over, where the windows and all the doors are open and the TV's up and you can stand outside and watch it.
Keep in mind that if you're going to do that, you have to pay a fee to FIFA, and I've heard it is very high.
Oh.
What about a fee?
There are multiple businesses that are gonna get together to share it. But they're also trying to limit within Times Square. Originally, FIFA didn't want anybody to have viewing parties. They started to say that's ridiculous for New York City. And you can't stop them from going online and getting pay TV to show the game. Should be indoors, but people are still gonna go to outside the league.
But the city's not making any money off of
They are from hotel, restaurant, bars.
the city.
Directly only, yeah, no.
Indirectly only.
They're paying, they have to pay for all the transportation, which is why the, New Jersey.
Jack-
the whole thing.
is charging so
Train
much
tickets.
for their costs.
Hundred
And
and
they're
fifty.
taking with $10 million from the federal government to help with transportation.
And FIFA's
Okay.
so fucking.
So what else? I need, what other things?
Yeah, because Gotham Park was hoping to get a break on theirs because they're a nonprofit, but I've heard it.
I say you
To
can't.
get a big
carry
break on
it
the
with it.
TV they would put outside.
Didn't they?
Do we
stop
want to
that
say that you
COVID?
can't carry your liquor beyond the, beyond the
Absolutely.
premises?
I
Yes,
thought that they stopped
I
that
think that's
COVID. You could drink outside, but you
you
couldn't.
can't.
But that's to your point, the sip and scroll.
But this is about sip and stroll, so
Sip
if
and
we're gonna
stroll.
say that you have to stay within the defined parameters, that's fine, they're making it so you can
It's good. I mean,
have outdoor spaces.
Just, I thought of COVID, you could take away liquor and then they stopped it.
Correct, and this would be undoing that.
So if it's already been stopped, why are we starting something that's been stopped already?
Because the governor wants this for World Cup to make some money and to standardize it across the state.
So we're gonna say stay within the boundaries of whatever,
World Cup making money.
No. Exactly, no, they did a lot more.
Those dinner.
okay, anything else? This is what I've got, stay within the boundaries, which includes if they make the outdoor area, you still have to stay, right? So if the three of us join together, we have to stay in our space.
Correct.
Close 30 minutes after the game ends.
People have to be gone.
Inside is okay until 4, outside midnight weekdays, 2 a.m. weekends. Prefer in commercials, limit to commercial, oh, wait, no, we're not limiting. Commercial zones, what did we say about the commercial zones?
We said we,
Is that the outside viewing on this, the outside viewing?
right, and plazas and commercials. Like Folsom Plaza and.
Oh, Betty's point, what she said is that we want to limit the outside to the commercial zones. But I don't know whether.
No, a
that's
bar who
possible.
has their own stuff would
So
be
you're
fine
trying to-
outside, but like, large outside viewing areas would be limited to commercial zones.
Correct, not in
So if you're talking-
residential.
Right, not in residential, so we're not necessarily into the three of us deciding we're gonna close down a residential neighborhood street to have this. This would be at Brookfield, Oculus, Seaport.
Legislation to allow that. But it's past City Hall, really, and that is to allow people to ask for their street and open it for viewing parties. It is sitting on the governor's, it's sitting on the mayor's desk, and he has not acted on. That legislation's already been passed in the city.
Yep.
This state legislation.
But that's like liquor.
This is
Not about
liquor.
the streets.
Yep.
Okay,
Or
gotcha.
the DOT can do for-
Want to do, on
What?
courtyards that are currently not allowed to serve it. Do you want to keep that consistent?
Yeah, because if
Yes,
you're not allowed. it's not allowed
absolutely,
in
thank
the
you.
hotel
Zach,
courtyard.
absolutely, because
No
that's
waste.
really in residential.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a thought here, Tammy, contrary to what we spoke about this week at staff, I'm thinking maybe this should be a letter rather than a resolution so that we don't have a full board meeting discussing something that no one is really fully knowledgeable about, and maybe you keep it as the committee perspective on the letter. I don't know, but I just think this is,
But why,
you have to assume people, you cannot vote on legislation that people have not read. This is a
And it'll
pointless
be,
exercise.
we'll never, in all fairness, will never end.
Yeah,
Look at
that's
us.
my concern.
I think a letter, as part of the community board, as the exact, I think it makes a lot of sense. I really do.
My experience too with like Golden Alley, with World Cups in the past. Those,
Oh, Betty.
I was married to somebody who was a fanatic too. When you get all the people who show up to eat in this restaurant, when all the doors are open and everybody's just moving around. Believe me, these are all the traders at Goldman Sachs, and I mean, these people are fanaticals. They're going to spill out the door and they're going to be walking around, and it's foolish to think otherwise.
Right.
So
Point being that whatever we
Guess I'm
say
a
is
little
somewhat
funny, though.
irrelevant or.
when you say you're limiting to within, you're gonna tell her how restaurant only use this space, but you can't use your courtyard. It's kind of ridiculous.
Who's gonna?
But it's what we tell people,
Well,
like,
the real question is,
Yeah, the
I would
enforceability
put
zero.
it in, Betty, only because the courtyards are where people are and live. And that's
Where
what
it
we've
makes-
limited people to in
Right,
terms of
licensing.
time. You know, we're pretty good about it with licensing, but this is till 4 AM with kids sleeping. I mean, I think our hours are reasonable with 12 and whatever, but I still would limit the courtyards. That's the only aspect. I'm not limiting the outdoor space. I agree with you.
we've had many neighbors come in.
It's not physically in play. The game is physically in play. That's where I draw the line. I think it's gotta be different. You've gotta be realistic.
I have to go, I'm sorry.
No, we're
No, we're writing a letter, so we don't need your vote. I think the letter.
And I
Betty,
have
you're-
lots of topics.
Wait.
Hold on, Betty, you're saying that, David, hold on. Betty, you're saying that you want something different when the game is in play versus not in play?
Yes, I think it's fine to say we're gonna have these extended hours, and people are celebrating after a game, just the whole celebration. But if you're talking about people celebrating during the game, I think the restrictions become a little ridiculous.
So you're saying so you're saying let them go to 4 o'clock in the morning, no matter where, indoor, outdoor, during a
The
game?
game is being played till 4 in the morning.
I still, Betty, I don't disagree with you on one level if it's on the weekend, but I think from Sunday to Thursday, I have trouble with it. And as long as I allow it inside, so they'll cluster inside and it won't be so nice outside. I think.
Kids and everybody else go wild when it is either their person they're a big fan of, or it's the country of that they're native to. Oh, you have no idea how huge it is.
Go to a game.
Going to be participating.
Probably that-
They're not going to be sleeping, and their teachers are all going to know if that's their ethnicity and it's being played. Go to Queens.
Okay, although we sent a lot of people home. Remember, we sent a lot of people home. I couldn't read it. I couldn't miss that.
One thing they came up with was dancing. Does anybody care about dancing?
Dance now.
In-
There's no cabaret.
You don't
We're
have
shaking your head
So
no.
we can give them that.
Yeah, I don't care. You wanna dance, you wanna. hula hoop.
I have concerns about noise outside.
Yeah,
Just
it's
do.
true.
I think it's an issue.
I think the
It's gonna be
outside, but
noisy anyway. This is just the means of monetizing of whatever that's happening. I'd rather have something that gives back something to the city or the state
but
than
that
drunk
doesn't.
people going to doing greed and getting their 40s and walking around and screaming.
Nobody's
It's
gonna
gonna
listen
happen.
anyway. We're passive, we're just plucking in the wind.
Hang it up.
Got
We
it.
certainly are clucking in the wind.
Anything else?
Cluck, cluck. No. But I think the letter is the right idea.
I have something
I don't
new.
wanna hear this at the large meeting. I'll kill myself. It's really not, it's
It's gonna
more
be
than I can
something new.
bear.
I just wanted to bring up something new, Betty. Today, you may have heard on News One, this doctor who was talking about the fact that the emergency room accidents from bicycles. Did you hear it? Did you hear about how the emergency rooms are going broke because of, they have to bring in $3, every single time, I'm on the first precinct and I've asked every single time, is there any legislation? Is there, there's supposed to be 15-mile-an-hour bike, but the bikes can go like 30 miles an hour unless you actually,
On what that study was about, and then,
well, talk to me.
Are we off?
I think we're gonna roll up, just so everybody knows. I'll do a memo for everyone, new rules starting this month. If a elected official visits us in person, right? And a topic is brought up, let's say Netta asks about, zoning regulations, there's a bill out there. He is the one who asks the question. The next person who wants to ask a question says, I'd like to have this discussion in committee. We're not gonna have 8 board members asking all questions on the same topic.
Oh, yeah.
So it's gonna be one topic. Whoever hits it first, hits it first. If it's a big one and people are getting frustrated, then the next person says, I think this should be discussed in committee. And that's where it goes, because otherwise we sit and talk with the elected official for 25 minutes.
Why should the next person say, I think, why don't you say, I think this should be discussed in committee?
Because if it's the will of, if it's more than one person, let it happen. Not everything has to be a discussion, maybe not just comments, and people don't care about the topic.
So then I don't understand what you mean.
So,
Tell me, physically show me how this works.
so
I bring it back.
we're all sitting around the table and Zach's our elected official. Zach comes in and says, gives his report, and then Justine pops up and says, well, you know, there's legislation that we're hoping to, to present that died in the last session that we want to come back about the homeowners coalition. Thank you very much. Netta raises her hand and says, I really would support that. No, I would support we put this discussion in committee and ask the elected official to join us.
How does Netta know that, that lots of people wanted to discuss that?
It's more than one. And then you can have.
Two people are okay, is that what you're saying?
It does, if a committee's there, then yeah. Or Netta says, I propose we bring this into committee to talk about it. And if the committee chair's there and people are like, yeah, let's go, then that's how we move it along. Because what we don't want is Netta commenting, then Betty commenting, then David commenting, and Susan commenting. The next thing we know is they spoke for 8 minutes within their allotted time, and then we had Q&A for 20, which is what happened last month. And I appreciate that we have them, that's the benefit, but we shouldn't all be commenting, there's 50 of us on the same thing. If it's that big of a thing, then it should be discussed in committee, do a resolution or choose a letter,
That's fine.
provide feedback, and then we move on.
So you're gonna tell everybody that if the second person wants to
Right.
have a discussion about the
Say,
same
I think
thing.
this is a big enough topic, I think we should
Fine.
discuss it.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine, yeah, that makes
Okay,
sense.
Right?
okay.
And that should help things roll along a little bit better.
What are you gonna do about these topics that come up in committees and all of a sudden it becomes a big to-do?
Oh, that's what the committees are for.
No, that come up at full board.
Or after, yeah, it was maybe a big to-do in the committee and then it becomes a big to-do during board.
Putting things back in other places, because that's what it is. I have 1,010 times in 6 years said, if you have a strong opinion, show up for the committee.
Yeah.
If you don't like the bill, you don't like the resolution, then your job, you can caucus, like, if, particularly for like what we're talking about, the bill, if you think you need to talk to the elected walks out of the room, go talk to them outside. If you feel you need to caucus about something that Betty's got a transportation bill you don't support, talk to people before you get to the room, talk to people outside the room, but get to a point that you can make your coherent argument and then the next person goes.
I don't.
We wanna cut
So
down.
I just want to go back to one thing, to Betty's point, in the letter that we're writing to whomever around this legislation, I just want us to reiterate that these are very special circumstances. This is a oneer. This is a one-time. I just think it's critical we note it. I'm sorry.
As Betty said, yeah.
Thank you very much, Dave.
What'd you say, Betty, could be used for?
For mass events.
Yeah,
They were talking about, say, this is Super Bowl.
yeah.
If they did, all the things, World Cup is one, where there's a series of things. Even less, things like the Olympics, World Cup,
Right.
World Series.
So we're
Super
saying
Bowl.
it can only be used for the World Cup, right?
Yeah, that's a different event that's being hosted here.
Before this legislation was about, it was being designed for mass events.
Okay.
But World Cup is also very different than all these other ones. This is like a.
Yeah,
global
the
event.
Yankee, the World Series doesn't go.
Zach,
We do it for New Year's, just to be clear.
we already do
Do
it
it
for
for
New Year's.
New Year's, yes.
And there are guidelines on that. This breaks those guidelines
That's
even
correct.
further.
Okay, all right, I
Well,
just want us to have
We
it.
still,
All right, are we done?
Yes.
I still want to talk about the bikes, but we can.
We can do that off. Meeting is adjourned 8:40.
No.